Come hang with the Woodward Sports Crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions!
With money on the line. Featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. It's Thursday, October 5th. Sam's dancing. Everyone's hyped up. I got my partner in crime, Sam Flannel, with me, JB, in the audio booth as usual. And, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Lucas Plotz in the TD booth. We're fired up. Lots to discuss today. A lot of Lions. We're going to throw a little Pistons in there because Brandon Dent will be joining us at 8:15 to kind of break down Media Day. Monty Williams had some interesting things to say to the media. He'll break it down for us. All that and then some. And at 9:30 later on in the show, we'll preview whatever the hell's going on tonight. Ooh. Chicago Bears and the Washington Commanders.
Big game. Big matchup.
Jeff Bezos ain't getting his money's worth with these Thursday night football games. It's actually ridiculous. 9:16, we'll talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown. We'll revisit that because somebody in this room said that man was going for $1,400.
Yeah.
And I think he's going for $1,400. So we'll talk about that at 9:16. And then, of course, 9 o'clock, we'll preview a little more of the game for Carolina. I want to get more into discussions for it. Tomorrow we'll get into the matchups, but just to preview the game itself, we'll do that more at 9 o'clock. 8:45, Austin Eckler. That man was preaching on his podcast.
He was talking ball.
Yes.
He was talking ball.
He's not Louis Riddick, but he's damn close.
Yeah.
He's damn close. Austin Eckler was discussing Jahmyr Gibbs and had some interesting things to say. We'll go through that at 8:45, 8:30. After we discuss Pistons with Brandon Dent, we'll go and we'll grade the offense and defense for the Detroit Lions. We'll get some grades out. We'll even hand one to the head coach, Dan Campbell. But for right now, just on the note of like the Bears and Commanders, because I thought it was interesting that last night I started looking ahead, and I started looking at the Thursday night football games coming up.
Yeah.
And just tell me if this interests any of you, okay?
Okay.
So you got Bears and Commanders tonight. Next Thursday, Broncos and Chiefs.
Ooh.
I mean,
I'm obviously going to tap in.
Of course.
Oh, my God.
So exciting.
That is awful. The following Thursday, Jags and Saints.
Ooh.
That one could be good. I don't think it'd be
That's like a wild card one.
It would. I mean, it could be good, but then it could be also really bad. Like, both teams could absolutely shit the bed. Like, the Jaguars have not looked on their A game once this year, neither have the Saints.
Well, and the thing is, the Saints this year in particular are kind of becoming a football eyesore. Am I the only one that is kind of seeing that when you watch them? Their offense just looks anemic. I mean, even with Derek Carr in there, it didn't really look like it. It actually looks like it regressed from last year.
Yeah, after Derek got hurt, like, it looked pretty good against the Packers until he got hurt, and then he returned last week, and it was garbage. Like, it was check down city over there. Like, it was just checking down Alvin Kamara. But, you know, that one could be good. That's in 2 weeks. The following week, though, and this one, before the season, I would have told you it was going to be trash, but right now, it might be okay. On 10/26, October 26th, after Jags Saints, the week after, you get Bucks and Bills.
No, that's not going to be a good
It's
game.
not a great game, but it's better than what I thought.
That's going to be a fucking blowout. I'm sorry. If the Bills just blew out the Falcons by 21 points, the Bucks don't stand a chance.
So you're just writing off Baker Mayfield.
That's exactly what I'm doing when he goes and playing Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah,
yes, you can bank on me writing off Baker Mayfield.
That's going to be a blowout for sure.
No,
I don't see Baker going toe to toe with Josh Allen Thursday night football.
That's one, if you're Josh Allen, you have to take personally because, like, just when you look at them side by side, when you look at their talent and everything, Josh Allen is like this majestic quarterback that you built in a lab, and Baker Mayfield is just kind of this, like, 6 foot, very untalented, very unimpressive looking quarterback. I mean, he's talented, obviously. He was the #1 overall pick. But, there are levels to this, and Josh Allen should dominate that game. And pretty soon, I have to see Baker Mayfield fall to earth. Hey, starting with their next matchup. You know who that's against.
Yeah, and again, Lions, they're on the clock. We'll discuss that more next week. I just put a poll. Who's better? Or what's better tonight to watch? Woodward Knights or Chicago and Washington?
No, it's not even close.
It can't be close. Like, it's got to be Woodward Knights. If you're watching Chicago, Washington, and not tuning into Booner and Broder and the boys tonight, or you could have both on. That's another option. But regardless, if you had to choose one, you ain't going with Chicago and Washington. I'm sorry.
No.
Maybe Lucas will just kind of, watch some footage on his boy, Sam Howell, but that would be the only one.
I am excited to watch Sam Howell tonight. That is one thing. Especially against the Bears secondary. It'd be fun. He's going to shred them.
Yeah, honestly, he probably will. To be honest with you, as of right now, I know Fields had a great game last week, but he's probably the better quarterback going into that game.
Probably. Howell's had one bad game, and it was brutal, but he has one bad game this year.
But then the other part of it is like what Justin Fields did last week until the pick. That was probably better than any game Sam Howell's had. Has to be. Dude was like one incompletion with like 4 touchdown passes.
Give him that, but then that's never happening again. Like that took it out. Justin
the odds of that
gave it everything he had. He reached down deep.
Yeah.
Came out with nothing.
That's fair. Yeah, it'll probably. Yeah, it's gonna be a while before that happens again. The following week after Bucks and Bills, Titans and Steelers.
Oh God.
It actually gets worse.
Ugh.
After that, Panthers and Bears.
Oh,
that's even
God.
worse. These Thursday night games, and you have to pay for Amazon Prime to watch these. Is that actually how that works?
Isn't it like Kirk Herbstreit and who
Al
else?
Michaels.
Yeah, and Al Michaels. Like I like Kirk Herbstreit when it's college football, but Al Michaels just puts me to sleep half the time. Like it's just brutal.
Well, it's the corpse of Al Michaels, pretty much, because Al Michaels is one of the all-time greats, but right now it seems like he doesn't even want to be there. I mean, he's been around so long. You know who called that? Do you believe in miracles? Yes, for the 1980 Miracle on Ice, that was Al Michaels, and he's still around.
Yeah, he's actually one of the goats.
Yes,
he's been doing it for a while. After Panthers and Bears, the magnificent matchup there at Thursday Night Football, they follow it up, which right now doesn't look as great, but it's Bengals-Ravens. This Bengals, though, this year might not be that great, but still, you know what? I get it. Before the season, that's the game. The following week, Week 12, Dolphins and Jets, Thursday Night Football.
Ooh,
at this point,
be good.
I know. At this point, though, like it's not. It lost the juice. Like if it was Aaron, I'd be so pumped. But like, with Zach Wilson, I don't know. We'll see. Week 13, Seahawks and Cowboys. That one will be good. I actually like that game. Week 14 is Patriots and Steelers. That's going to be a 13-10 win for one of those teams. God, that's another garbage matchup, but regardless.
The sad thing is the Steelers, they actually have a lot of players that are worth watching, particularly at the wide receiver position and on defense, of course. But the problem is you got Kenny Pickett, who, as I've said many, many times, he blows. He's terrible. And then when he gets hurt, who comes off the bench to save the day? Mitch Trubisky. And who's their starting running back? Najee Harris. All of that alone makes the Pittsburgh Steelers, pretty much ever since Ben Roethlisberger left, and even at the tail end of Ben Roethlisberger, the Steelers are a football eyesore, and you know how I feel about the Titans.
Yeah, the Titans. It's like you'll get a dominant Titans, and then you'll get a Titans that look terrible. I don't know what I'm expecting out of the Titans. I like Mike Vrabel though, and some of these comments though, people chiming in. Jerry Alexander says most people already have Amazon Prime because of our wives. That's fair. I respect that, Jerry. If you have Amazon Prime, then you might as well just tune in regardless.
JB
Ronnie Brow, thanks for the $2. He says Twitch streams Thursday Night Football games for free. Is that true? Twitch streams it? I didn't know that.
I don't know about that one.
Because a lot of people are saying that, so I honestly don't know. Jay Cruzen says, I have Amazon Prime for free. PX Shaman says, most people don't have Amazon Prime. How can people pay for 6 streaming services? Yeah, it feels like now you're going to have Peacock, Amazon Prime, everything, Hulu. Just get it all to watch any of these sports. Like that's probably what the most frustrating thing is for me. Like my stepdad, he's like, oh, is the game on tonight? I think this was a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, yeah, but it's only available on, whatever. And he's like, fuck. He's like, I'm not paying for that. So he didn't tune in. But that's what's unfortunate. Like, I'm not, at least for me, I'm not going to buy Peacock and that's for other sports too.
Shout out
to
Stream
watch.
East.
Like Stream East.
We
don't know anything about that. We don't know anything about that.
Speak for yourself.
We were told.
that Stream East has great programming. I was told.
Not always the most reliable, but they're always there for you.
They are. They are. And to move on now, after the whole Patriots-Steelers, the primetime matchup there, Week 14. Week 15, they got Chargers-Raiders, which is like, that's like the most mid. The only people that are watching that are Chargers fans and Raiders fans.
I like Justin Herbert. It would be another Justin Herbert showcase.
I understand. And then Week 16, Saints and Rams. Okay, that's enough. Like, these are all mid. And then Week 17, Jets and Browns. Like, come on.
Ooh.
Which before the season actually could have been something cool. If you had Aaron versus Deshaun Watson. But regardless, That is bad.
That's like the bowl of the teams that I was higher on than everybody whose seasons will probably be ruined by injuries. That's like the Aaron Rodgers, Nick Chubb depression bowl right there.
Yeah. Albert said, "You snitching, bro, about Stream East, dude. Why are you snitching? You're ratting us all out."
If he just said that, don't you call it out then? Yeah. I'm just saying, for the people that need it, you had a little opportunity to hear about it.
Yeah.
Maybe not everybody knew.
There you go. Trey Adams says, use YouTube TV and mock your location to the local station on your phone and cast it to your TV. That's a real thing.
Ooh.
Like, people have all these, dude, I don't, at least for me, or I was told I could go on Stream East and, indulge in
reliable thing to do.
Anything I need to indulge in, but I'm not doing it. I just know plenty of people that do.
Got Red Zone on there. They got everything.
They do. That is true. Trumps says, one loss from SOL. Most of these Lions fans are bandwagons. I love that. David Brewer, my fiance is in college, and we pay $1 per month for Peacock with her school email. That's actually clutch, if that's the case. When I was in school, I think my Apple Music was like $5, and that was cool.
I used to cheat. I used to have so many, when I was with my ex, so many subscriptions that I didn't have to pay for.
Racking them all up.
Just go over there, take over the TV.
Yeah.
You didn't have a choice.
Oh, yeah.
Lucas Klotz, just date people. Hey, how many school emails do you have? Like, how many free subscriptions do you have? Okay, interesting.
What can you do for me? I need to watch The Sopranos. Can you supply that for me? No? Next.
Yeah, right. Freddie Felt 313 broke boys in the chat. Well, that's aggressive. That's pretty aggressive. I would say financially educated people. How about that?
Yeah.
Maybe you just, hey, I don't want to spend whatever the price is for Peacock. I'd rather just, risk going to jail. Like potentially.
Hustlers. Making shit happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like when Dana White, JB, always says he's going to get everybody watching streams. And, it never happens.
Yeah.
But, everybody gets shook when he says that. He's like, I'm going to come find everyone who's watching these UFC fights on streams. The next week, everyone's back to watching on streams.
But that's the thing, too. If you're a diehard fan for whatever sport, you're going to find a way to watch whatever sport.
Right.
No matter what. No matter if you have to pay or if you have to stream it illegally or somehow, some way. You're going to find a way to watch whatever game you want to.
100%. If there's a will, there's a way. If there's a will, there's a way. Honolulu Blue Sparty says there's no such thing as free. You prepay or someone else pays. That's true. Because if you're watching on one of these websites, someone else already bought it. But they're nice enough to hook the rest of the boys up there.
I never even thought about that. That's facts.
Yeah.
Somebody's taking a bullet every day.
Yeah, someone's falling on the sword for me.
A lot of people on Facebook with UFC fights. I'll say that.
Yeah, that definitely. Especially some of these. You'll see some of these cards. They're like what? $50 in their net. There's no way in hell I'm paying $50 to watch.
50? That was like a couple years ago. Now they're like $80.
Right, and it's not even for premier cards. You'll pay if I'm watching John Jones and company. I'll pay, but other than that, if Derek Lewis is your headliner, I don't know if that's worth me dropping 80 on it. That's just how I feel. Shot says WSN needs a sponsor from a VPN company, and with the way we pirate streams, well, you know what, Shot, we'll talk to some people. All right, just keep it on the morning show.
Griffin. Get you popping in the
Griffin,
back.
hit up a VPN service. Mom! That's like some Will Ferrell stuff. And for people, too, and I was watching Big D Energy yesterday, and Neil Rule had some interesting things to say. And this man, by the way, if you guys could do me a favor and count how many times he mentions Jeff, the word Jeff, or Juicy, or any form of me, I would love to know.
Just count it, put it in the chat. Keep a track going throughout the show. So
Yeah.
every time he says it, put one.
Like
spam
a Jeff
one.
tracker.
Every time he says it, spam 2, and they'll have no clue. But we will. We will.
I would just like to know how many times. I feel like I'm not even paying rent. I'm living rent free in Neil's head.
I would say that.
At this point.
At this point, I just think it's good marketing for you.
Yeah.
It's almost just
yeah.
I mean, why is he talking about him so much? There's got to be a reason, and
I can
people
take
got to
all
find
you can
out
bring.
regardless. So it's just kind of extra marketing. I would look at. He's your PR guy.
you know what, Lucas,
Maybe not the best PR guy, but he's a PR guy.
You're not just a ball knower. You're a business knower. All right, you get it. Publicity, any publicity is good publicity. And you know what? And I saw him going off yesterday. And by the way, I don't know who commented and told Neil and DMAC the morning show gets more views than your show, because I don't indulge in that, right? I just do my show. We have a fun time over here. And then Neil and DMAC respond. I think DMAC's response was, well, they're on in the morning. I want to address that too. All right, because this is Jeff in 2023. No BS is sliding. Did you guys know, and I just want to educate the people, did you guys know one of the most slowest time slots of YouTube is in the morning. Did you guys know that?
Interesting.
I didn't know that either till recently when I actually did the research. Isn't that interesting? So for people that just want to say, yeah, Sam, Jeff, JB, and Lucas Klotz, those guys are cool, but, they're on in the morning, so everyone's just tuning in. You guys don't have to tune in. You guys choose to. That's why we appreciate you. But don't act like this is some layup. Come on, D-Mac. You know better than that. Like, I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of the it's not straight up disrespect, but in a way, it is a little bit of disrespect. Like, I will not tolerate it. I will not tolerate it.
Long nights and early mornings will not be disrespected around
yeah,
here. They
like,
will not.
Come on. Like, and even dating back to, like, the before regime with me and Adam. Like, we've always, back when Stick, people remember this, Stick, Corey, Joey, when they first had this show, it was a fine program. I was a part of it. I was in the audio booth. Fun fact, if you guys remember that, shout out to you. And then over time, we built this show. It took a lot of work and people obviously committing to it, and it was a great time. But, like, come on, guys. Neil Rule and D-Mac, how many times I mentioned Neil Rule a week? Maybe once?
Recently, a little bit more, but for natural causes. Like, we see why. It's not like for no reason.
Of course. All right, so
in
Neil
response
Rule.
most of the time.
Neil Rule, I want the smoke. D-Mac, I don't want no smoke with you, all right? I'm cool with that. I don't want no smoke with D-Mac. That's fine.
And we want the smoke!
There you go. Love it. Let's go to break. Just wanted to address that real quick. I don't know. Guys, please count how many times he mentions my name. Like, that'd be interesting. I think it has to be double digits. Has to be.
Oh, 100%.
If you throw Sam in there, it could hit 20. I'm thinking at least 10, but if you throw Sam in the count meter, it could hit 20.
D-Mac's the one that always brings up flannel.
Yeah.
So you got to get like a Jeff counter for Neil and a flannel counter for D-Mac. And just add them all up. Sum them up at the end of the show.
Yeah. Nicholas
Divided by 2, find the average.
Yeah, right. Nicholas Duncan, say it with your chest, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Theo says, you treat Jeff with respect. Yeah, hey, listen. Jerry Alexander says, morning show getting treated like a little brother. And I'm sick of it, Jerry. I'm sick of it. Alec G says, Jeff and D-Mac drop the gloves. No, I'm okay. I am not going to do this.
Jeff, I love it.
And Mike Bell says, don't forget Lindsay. Yeah, shout out to Neil got Lindsay converted.
Yes,
that's true. You guys know Lindsay was. By the way, I love Lindsay. One of the greatest human beings ever. Seriously, but he's so fun. Now he's like, he'll see me and he'll start making jokes. I'm like, Neil got you. Neil got you. Still love Lindsay, but Neil.
He won't deny it either.
Neil should run for office. Like, that guy has influence on people. He does. He's for the people.
He's provocative. That's for damn sure. Neil is provocative. Gets the people going.
Yeah, he is. And Jake says, "Do we count douche and dork too? Any reference to you? Right? Want to make sure I understand the assignment." Jake,
douche and dork in the morning. That's how he always says.
When Neil's more of a douche.
Objectively,
he's more of a douche.
That's how he keeps the smoke away from him when it comes to that.
Yes, he
directs it towards you.
See, you're a step or two ahead of Neil right now. That's what it is. Neil for governor. Jake Cruzen says he should.
Could you imagine just like his campaign picture?
Yeah, dude. I seriously, Neil is hilarious, dude. I do love Neil. Just please count though how many times he mentions us. It would be great. Burns says, to be fair, douche and dork in the morning is a strong title. It is. That's a statement.
That's a
Catchphrase. Guess what? Speaking of statements, I got a place you can go to make a statement on game night for any sporting event, and that's Hamlin Pub. Have you ever wanted to be at a bar where you're a regular? And they have just the place for you. Head to one of Hamlin Pub's 7 locations and experience where everybody's a regular. Whether you're enjoying half-off pizza on a Thursday or game day specials available during all Michigan sports and NFL games, Hamlin Pub is the place. Visit a location today and experience your new favorite pub for all things sports.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Hey, this is Mr. Kearney, Chief Academic Officer, Academy of Warren. I want to welcome you to the brand new Field House. The state-of-the-art facility has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, soccer field. It can be used for 7-on-7 football. Our K-8 academic features AM, PM, latchkey, small classroom sizes, Learning Street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Houghton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, K-8 athletics, and more. Enroll today at academywarren.net.
Join Woodward Sports and Long Drink live this Sunday for the official Lions VIP tailgate party. It's at Eastern Market in shed number 5, and
Bullseye.
It is going to be a bash starting at 9:30 a.m. until game time, getting you ready for the Lions' big matchup against the Carolina Panthers. The official Lions tailgate is back and better than ever. How would you like to pregame it with Woodward Sports and be treated like a VIP? Food, beverages, and entertainment all included. Get your tickets online today at bullseyeeventgroup.com or win some from Woodward Sports today. Just subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on IG, and direct message Lions VIP.
I love this comment too. Nick says, Nick Bunning, Jeff, don't forget, B Cats is the authority on betting and losing because he's so professionally handicapped. Yeah, Nick, I don't know what the data for B Cats is for wins versus losses, but you're not off there, Nick. But speaking of a guest joining us, even though I didn't mention it, but now I'm mentioning it. Brandon Dent, Woodward Sports beat reporter for the Detroit Pistons, my good friend. You've been busy this week, man. You've been grinding. Holding it down. I know you are. And I went down with you to media day, and I was there for 4 hours, and I'm like, holy, how do you do this? You're there every single day grinding over there. So shout out to everyone at the Pistons, by the way, because you had some cool things going on this week. Before we get into all the basketball side of things, where were you yesterday? Could you speak on that event specifically? Because you got a new T-shirt.
Yeah. Look, you guys can see it, man. The legendary, I had to support, man, but the legendary St. Cecilia's Gym. The Pistons and Belfort group, they have joined up to jumpstart a restoration of not just the gym, but the surrounding community, and they're calling it Ceciliaville. All the legends, some of the legends that found their start there, man, like Greg Kelser, the legend Derek Coleman.
Oh, he was out there.
Grant Long and Dave Bing, the mayor. You know, like these guys were out there, Front Street, man, ready to lend anything that they could because they said that their starts were here. Greg Kelser told me about how he and Magic Johnson, Irvin Magic Johnson, they met. You know, Michigan State greats. Mm-hmm. They met on the steps of St. Cecilia's Gym because Dave Bing, who's about 15 years older than them, invited them out. Like, to be able to hear those types of stories, to hear how they were impacted. They didn't know where their lives were headed. But that gym and that community and those people around there meant so much to them. And they were just kind of sad to see it go. And now they're glad to be a part of the restoration of it all and hoping that it can help not just people from Detroit, because Magic wasn't from Detroit. Grant Long wasn't from Detroit. These were people, you know, other people. Some were from Flint, some were from Lansing, some were from Romulus. They were all over. They're hoping that this can be a beacon for kids all over the state of Michigan to be able to get a start. And, you know, shout out to my man, Earl Curitan. Earl. If I don't mention him, he was one of the guys that really, really, really helped to spearhead this thing. He's at every single community event. And he was just blessed to kind of be a part of it, to kind of help get this thing going. And it's just a beautiful thing. He said it helps to get the kids off the street, and not just that, but it gives them something meaningful.
And no question. And by the way, speaking of Dave Bing, a lot of respect to him, but, you know, has he ran into Cade? Has he gotten a chance to chop it up with him? Does he still feel like Cade's not a player you can build around, or what?
You know what? We didn't get a chance to ask him that. That was the only of the legends that I didn't get to speak with yesterday. Obviously, you know, he spoke with a couple people, but when I get an opportunity, bro, that's something I do want to ask him about. Like, hey, has Cade changed your opinion at all?
Yeah.
Those are comments. I love Dave Bing, but those comments were kind of they were wild.
And he kind of clarified it, but still, people remember what you said. You can clarify it all you want, man. Like when you say Cade and someone you can build around. Sam Flannel, you got anything?
Oh yeah. So Kool-Aid.
Yes, sir.
When you talk about media days and all of that, the person that I am always excited to hear from the most is the head coach, of course, being Monty Williams. Is there anything that Monty Williams said that kind of gave you some insight into the team, and were you impressed by his performance overall?
Oh, yeah. I believe that Monty Williams is worth at least 5 to 10 wins, not over last year's team, but over the team that had Cade Cunningham and Jeremy Grant. That's what I honestly believe. He's come in and he set a tone. You know, with Phoenix, he said, no egos. We're checking that at the door, and everybody's going to have to work hard. We're resetting everything. You're going to have to earn your spots. And that's what he's telling people. Obviously, we know that there are guys who are going to earn those spots, but he said that nothing is given. He said, we will defend, and if you're not defending, you're not playing.
Right.
And what's been even more succinct is what he's been saying at the training camps. I know people have been wondering what's up with this kind of too big lineup that they've been experimenting with like the last season, the season before. He said that's done away with. Marvin Bagley and James Wiseman are competing for that backup big spot. So, you know, I like the return to defense because I know with the Jeremy Grant Pistons, the second half of the season, they were competitive. 10-14 record with Cade Cunningham in the lineup. A couple of those games, if they win, they're 500 in those games. But the key piece was Jeremy Grant, in which a lot of people clamored, we need to get a shooter at that position. And we switched to Bojan Bogdanovic, and we saw it didn't really pan out. So now it's good to see them going back to that, with defense being the base of what they say is going to spur winning. And all-out hustle. He said, if you're not, he said, I don't want just defense in half court. I want defense like full court. I want it in transition. I want guys thinking.
Right.
And hopefully, he said that this will help to spur our offense because they got speedy, athletic guys.
And I want to ask you, and Lucas, he has the clip of Monty. Can you play the clip of Monty speaking? I think it was your video, actually. And he brought up Killian versus Monty Morris, and you're going to want to hear this.
Monty and Killian. Killian's a guy that can make plays, plays both ends. But in particular, Monte is a guy who has a historical body of work to be able to play with the ball and off the ball. In Denver, he played off of it more because of Jokic. Last year, they played him some as a primary ball handler. And he's a guy that he understands how to play. He can settle the dust when things are getting a little out of hand. I think he can do that.
Wow. Speaking on Killian Hayes and Monty Morris there, I want to ask you, at least for Killian Hayes.
Yeah.
And for people that don't know, like and when he was first drafted, I bought a jersey.
We know.
Get him, Flannel. Get him, Flannel.
You wear it very often. It's
I
okay.
do not. I had hope for Killian Hayes. I officially was out on Killian, I think, last year. And he played well last year, but my mind was...
In stretches.
Yeah, in stretches. He did.
Okay.
If you guys he did. Again, there was like a stretch of the season where he was averaging double-digit points and actually shooting above 40% and shooting like 30s from three. But then there came a time where the draft happened. You signed Monte Morris. You drafted Marcus Sasser. You upgraded that backup point guard role, and now Monty brought up he could play the 2-guard too, and he likes his passing ability, his ability to defend. Your opinion, though, the future of Killian Hayes. And I was asked this question by Sean, and I want to ask you it because it's a good question. Who sticks around to the end of the season? Who's more likely to, Wiseman or Killian Hayes?
I think Killian Hayes is more likely to stick around to the end of the season.
Okay.
I really do. And I can tell you this, a lot of us were surprised with him bringing up Killian Hayes because it was unprovoked. Nobody asked necessarily about Killian Hayes. The question before that was about the impact that Monty Morris is going to make. And, you know, I know that training camp just started. You know, they've been practicing for the last 2 days, but Monty Williams has actually been with the team while they've been scrimmaging. He said this is the most that they've scrimmaged. Killian Hayes stayed in Detroit. You remember the old refrain? Keep Killian in Detroit, lock him in the gym. That's what this summer was for him.
Right.
So Monty's actually seen him work. He's seen him scrimmaging with the guys. So when he brings this question up, when he's answering this question about the impact of Monty Morris, he's like, whoa, you know, y'all just skipping over Killian. That to us spoke, and you talk about is there hope for him? Well, that's Monty Williams throwing the logs on the fire. Right. That's not us. It's not us stoking the flames. All we're going to do is report to you that he's saying that this is what he sees out of Killian. Playmaking, two-way ability, and the ability to play more than just a point guard, which is something that we continue to talk about. Like, I think he's a combo guard. And we've seen point guards forced or combo guards forced into a point guard's role.
Right. And
sometimes it just doesn't fit. And when you have a guard like that with the ball in his hands a lot, in this NBA, you also need him to be able to score efficiently, heavily, and readily. That's what worked with Ivy. That's what worked with Cade. But Killian is not necessarily that guy. And I think Monty Williams knows that, so he's looking to put him in a better position to succeed.
If he's playing off ball, just knock down a jumper. Sam, you can go ahead.
Ooh.
Knock down a jumper.
And honestly, I don't think he's shown anything in his career that tells me that he can hit a consistent jumper. But you know what? Let's not talk about Killian Hayes anymore. Let's talk about one Asar Thompson. I think we all have a lot of hope for Asar Thompson. Is there any insight, Kool-Aid, that you can give me about him and your expectations for him this season?
Look, man, every time I've got to talk to Asar, we've even seen him at the park, man.
He's so polite.
But he's not phased. He's not rattled. He is polite, but he's just, some of the questions we ask him about basketball, you see his face go like, what? Like, are you serious? I asked him a question about, hey, man, you're versatile, 1 through 4. What do you think? What's your favorite position? He was like, bro, there's no positions. I'll just do whatever they ask me. At the media day, you heard him say, I can play all of these positions. I'm ready to go. Asar Thompson, the thing that people are raving about is his defense. You were at media day with me, Jeff. You heard a lot of his teammates say, including Beef Stew, oh, no, he's ready right now. Day one ready right now. Right now. I'm hearing some stuff that he's impressing people to the point that he actually might have a good opportunity to start sooner rather than later.
In your take on this, I want your thoughts, because I figured he was going to start. Like, I thought when I heard the news, well, he could come off the bench, I was a little shocked. I'm like, really?
Well, it was because of the comments that Troy Weaver made. When they first drafted him, I think Troy wanted to be able to make sure he tempered some expectations. Let him get out there on the floor, let him play a summer league game first, let him get with his teammates, and let him earn it, because that's what they're doing now. Monty Williams' whole mantra is you're going to earn it. So there's nothing given. You're not just walking in like Jaden Ivey and just here's your starting spot. It's not gifted. Killian Hayes, here's your spot. So it's like they're starting this thing over, and Monty Williams is bringing the system that's like, dope, I like the pick. But he's going to have to prove to me that he can contribute. And the aspect here, if we're talking about shooting, the one component here is that Bojan Bogdanovic is a ready-made, microwave scorer, bro. You come into the game last year, look at the Pistons games to start the season. He was getting like 8 points in the first 12 minutes of the first 6 minutes, man. Mm-hmm. That sometimes when you're talking about a young team and it can take time to get going, sometimes a guy like Bojan can kind of just get it going quickly. But the impact that I'm hearing Asar Thompson can make, just overall, with the ball in his hands, if he's playing off ball, as a lob threat, as a playmaker, as a defender full court, as a hustler, and he can rebound and he gets blocks and steals. These are the things that we're kind of hearing. I don't know how you keep that type of impact on the bench, especially when the last time that they had any pulse on defense and any pulse as a team was with Jeremy Grant playing that same position. Mm-hmm. That to me speaks volumes.
The hardest bar, Troy Weaver said, was we're not the Pistons if we don't defend.
Bars.
Like that. Because he's right. Like, that's essentially what historically this franchise has always been a part of. But before you go here, I appreciate you joining us. I want to ask you, and I know I've asked you this before, but I'm hoping maybe it changes. We'll see. Win-loss record. Give it to me. What do you think? Or at least a range. Give me a range.
I want to see no less than 35 wins.
Okay.
No less than 35.
Well,
if the guys are healthy, 35 to me, because I said this with Rod Beard on the Woodward Pistons podcast, brought to you by Woodward Sports.
There you go.
Shout out to Rod Beard as well, man.
Legend. The legend.
Over there at the Detroit News. Now, there's 5 losses you should have and 5 losses you shouldn't have, with teams like this. Mm-hmm. I want to see the Pistons start to kind of eliminate those things and hold firm. You hear Cade, he's tired. He was annoyed at media day. He's been annoyed. Like, he wants to win. Ivy is annoyed. These guys want to win, and they've added a couple more vets. And when you talk about the shooting, people say they can't shoot. Bro, Alec Burks, Bojan Bogdanovic, Joe Harris.
Monty Morris.
He
shot like 40 from 3.
What 3 players are you putting on any other squad in the league that's all has the ability to shoot 40% plus? Like, that's formidable.
Right.
If Joe Harris is healthy and if Alec Burks is healthy, and we know what Bojan Bogdanovic is going to do.
And I think Cade will be serviceable, man. Like 35, at least 35% from 3.
Especially with 2 legs underneath him now.
There you go.
Definitely, man.
So part of that's and that's the whole thing with the shooting thing. Like, people, oh, where's the shooting? Where's the shooting? Where's the shooting? And for me, I advocated for Taylor Hendricks because he could do both. But part of that was like, dude, this team can't defend. Like, Asar can defend. And you needed that too. But I appreciate you joining, Brandon. Tell the people where they can find you, which things you're doing behind the scenes.
Yeah,
so
definitely. Always, check out Woodward Sports. But we get busy on Woodward Pistons as well.
Yep.
And at Detroit Kool-Aid, man, as always. I appreciate you, brother.
There you go. Great work. You can follow him, again, on Twitter as well. Man's posting all the time. He's everywhere for the Pistons. So if you want your exclusive Pistons coverage, Woodward Sports and Brandon down on Twitter. Appreciate you, Brandon. We'll go to break. When we get back, we'll get into some more Lions here. I want to grade the offense and defense. We'll give our grades out, so much more. But first, Sam, could you tell everybody about our friends over at Premier Pet?
Oh, of course. When it comes to your pet, don't settle. I don't settle when it comes to my pets, my dog Jake and my cat Milo. I get all of their stuff
Jake and
from
Milo,
Premier Pets.
baby.
Absolutely. I like to call him Jacob, though. Give your pet the best. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Family owned and operated for over 30 years. 13 Metro Detroit locations, over 60 brands of food, lowest prices, and curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best. You can visit their website at premierpetsupply.com.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. So register today at OutdoorEquipCo.com, and even you could have DMAC on your landscaping crew.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White and Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
How would you like to win a $100K Vegas getaway? Take your closest friends and live it up in a city that never sleeps. It's the Centron Energy Drink It and Live It sweepstakes. Purchase a 24-pack today and enter for your chance to win. Register at drinkcentron.com/Vegas and buy Centron at your local Myers store. Centron, the healthier energy drink with great taste. Look good, feel great, and be the best version of yourself with Centron. Once again, that website is drinkcentron.com/Vegas.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. I want to get to this comment, but first, while Sam's dancing, hit the like button. We're almost at 100 likes on the stream. Much appreciated, man. It helps the show, helps us a ton. So if you can do that for us, I thank you. The other part of it is if you missed the show live, you can always go back and listen to any podcast platform you get your podcast. Morning Woodward Show, leave a 5-star review. Shout out to Honolulu Blue Sparty, doing God's work.
He did a deep dive.
He said, Jeff and Flannel. I just downloaded the Big D transcript from yesterday and found that Jeff was said 16 times, Juicy 2 times, and Flannel 22 times, and Sam 22 times, and Lucas 2 times.
It's up there like, I mean, I'm not the math guy. I'll let Flannel break down the analytics there.
A lot of analytics to break down there. Honolulu Blue Sparty. Getting analytical on us there.
That's at least once or twice a segment.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's how they keep the show flowing.
Yep.
They're like, nothing to talk about. Flannel!
Jeff! Douche and dork! Let's get to grading the offense and defense, shall we? And Sam, I'll have you start off. We'll go with the offense first. What grade would you give them through 4 games?
All right, through 4 games with the offense, I would give them a solid B+ because they're top 10 in scoring, top 10 in passing, top 10 in rushing, and top 10 in total yards. Although in scoring, they're actually they're not really down, but they're down in terms of the rankings. They're 0.1 less than they were last year with, I think, better personnel, but they are certainly doing more than enough for them to win, and this offense still being top 10. I think that was, as long as they stayed in the top 10, I think that we would all be satisfied. And of course, we all know the Lions are 3-1, so that makes things a lot better as well. The only reason that I give them a B+ instead of an A is because of the turnover differential. They are -2 this year, and they did commit a couple of very, very, very costly turnovers with the David Montgomery fumble and the Jared Goff pick 6 in the Seattle game that they lost, and they had a couple of 4th downs that they didn't convert. I'm not necessarily blaming the offense completely. I think a lot of that had to do with coaching and play calling, but still, the offense wasn't able to convert on 2 costly turnover on downs as well. But for the whole this year, I am very, very satisfied, and that's why I'm giving them a B+.
I actually have the same grade, B+. I thought about giving them a B, but again, that's like the expectations we have for this offense. I'm giving them a B, and they're top 10. They're 8th in points scored.
Yeah.
But you're right, Sam. You nailed it. The reason why it's knocked is the turnover differential. That's really it. I mean, even at home, offense played well. It was kind of the opposite for the defense against Seattle. But regardless, this offense has scored 20 or 30 twice. One of those being on the road. So offense has been buzzing, but they're nowhere near where they should be. Especially now with J-Mo, hopefully their ceiling kind of increases there. But I think B+ is fair for the offense.
Sure.
What about you, Lucas? What grade would you give them?
I'm going to go with an A- just because I understand there's been more turnovers, but the fact that they've responded, I think, is what's been it all for me. I think this run game has looked better than it has last year. And I understand that in the receiving, like, the numbers aren't there for as far as they don't have some, like, dominant, just #1 wide receiver. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is still a #1 wide receiver in this league, and I think one day he will become a dominant #1 wide receiver.
Yep.
But I just still think with Ben Johnson, like, this is an A- offense in my opinion. I haven't seen anything that I've really been displeased from so far.
JB, what about you, man? What grade would you give the offense so far through 4 games?
Through 4 games, it's a solid B+. I think, as you guys said, there are some areas that they would like to see improved, would like to see done a lot better, and some mistakes that need to be cleaned up as well too. But overall, they've been performing, and then, as Lucas said as well too, whenever there are takeaways, they respond back. So that's what they have. They have that grit, they have that heart. So it's a solid B+.
And it's crazy because what grade would you be giving the offense last year when they were 1-6? You'd probably be giving them like an A, B+, but they just couldn't win games because their defense couldn't stop anybody. So the win, it's really not even about the 3-1. It's about the offense strictly, and it's pretty common. I mean, A-, B+. Again, they can still improve, but offense is buzzing once again. I want to read this comment because it made me laugh here. Dan Wood, Cat says the offense would be an A if Detroit would have drafted Carter instead of Gibbs and Lagoda. That's something Cats would say. That is something he would say. Let's go to defense. What grade would you give the defense through 4 games so far?
I would also give the defense a B+, even though when it ranks to scoring, they are 13th in the NFL, which is top half, which I think we would all have taken if we would have been guaranteed it. I know that we still kind of hope that they can be a top 10 scoring defense, but we shall see as the season goes along. They are still top half, but when it comes to yards allowed per game, they are 4th in the NFL, and when it comes to their dominant rushing defense, nobody could have foreseen this before the season. They are 1st in the NFL in rushing defense, and that cannot be overstated just how phenomenal that is. And not only that, this is a team that has had 13 sacks this season.
Yep.
I know they've really come on in the last couple of games and had 12 of them, but still, this is a pass rush that is really coming into their own, and they are led by a guy who I think will get 15 and I think will be one of the best defensive players in the game moving forward in Aiden Hutchinson. Again, the only reason why I have him at a B+ instead of an A is because Geno Smith did pretty much torch him in that Seattle game, and they gave up 30 points. But otherwise, I would say the defense hasn't been a problem at all, giving up 20, 20, and 6 to Green Bay, Kansas City, and Atlanta. We would have taken that a million times out of a million. So for that reason, even though they're only top half instead of top 10 in scoring defense, I still got to give them a B+.
Now, where I'm going with this, and I'm going to give an A. And I'll tell you why. You know what's crazy? And this is sent to me by a listener. Shout out to Lee, because I did not know this. Did you know, and just to give you context here, the Lions rushing or opponent yards per game, what they're allowing, average, and I think this is rushing yards. Yes, rushing yards. What they're allowing a game, 60.75. You know what the 2000 Ravens allowed?
What was that?
60.63.
Unbelievable.
So they're basically on par with the 2000 Ravens defense, at least against the run. So, like, A. I mean, A. I mean, they're 7th in sacks. You said they're 4th in yards allowed. What they're doing so far through 4 games is unbelievable. This is probably one of the bigger turnarounds in a long time. From being the one of the worst, if not the worst defense last year, to now being a top unit, and being on par through 4 games with the 2000 Ravens. Give me an A++, extra plus squared. Lucas,
we
talk
got
to me.
Ray Lewis and Ed Reed back there.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. No, I'm with you, Jeff. I'm not going to go A++, just because of the Seattle
Squared.
game, but I'm squared. But I'm definitely going with an A. The way that this defense is playing right now, considering just the on-field talent that they have compared to the upper echelon teams in the league, and the fact that they're still this dominant against the running backs that they've played, the quarterbacks they've played, and the receivers that they've played, there's no way, in my opinion, that you could put them at a B. Like, I could maybe hear you for a B+. Anything lower than that, I just think is just, I think it's just a little ignorant to some point.
JB, what do you think? What grade would you give the defense before we put Sam Flannel on the stand here?
Actually, I'm going to agree with Sam. I will give them. Wait. I will give them a B+, but with some extra credit, with some more sacks coming along here, that can easily be moved up to an A, which I think is quite possibly for them to do. A lot of the sacks that we've seen came in the last few games right here, so now they're starting to build, they're starting to add up. But at the beginning of the season, they had that bend but don't break mentality. Now it's just a straight dog mentality from Aaron Glenn and all these players out here. So with some extra credit, some more sacks in these games, the rushing yards going down for all these other teams, it can easily move to an A.
JB, the voice of reason, just so I can understand where you're coming from. What drops into a B for you instead of an A?
The Seattle game?
Well, it's the B+, and yes, it is the Seattle game. The one sack at the end that was just a give me from Geno Smith. But, hey, those yards, like, you got to limit those passing yards. And AG had to change up his mentality and switching up who was on DK Metcalf as well, too. So, hey, bend but don't break. But like I said, some extra credit here, some more sacks coming along in these next couple games. Like, hey, this can easily move to an A.
Some tough love?
Yeah, a little bit of tough love.
Funky,
like, come on.
Funky chime in. He says, fun fact, the player with the most rush yards against the Lions is Patrick Mahomes at 45. That's like absurd, man. I'm salty chiming in. Compare us to the 2000 Ravens after 4 games, huh? Too bad this season isn't 4 games. Yeah, salty.
It's numbers, bro.
No one. Yeah, I'm just stating a fact. I said through 4 games, they're on par with the Ravens. Are they the Ravens? Did I say that? No, I did not. But thank you, Salty, for chiming in there. Dante151. The Detroit Lions have allowed just 54 rushing yards before contact this season. The league average is 140. Oh my God, 140.25. That's A+ material right there. Appreciate Dante for the $5 there, and he's right. He's 100% right. I want to go to break, but I also want to ask you, Sam Flannel, are you in the same kind of, mindset of JB there while you gave him a B+?
It was a B+, by the way, and I was really struggling with this. But to me, and I know 7 of those points were basically gifted to you by Jared Goff's pick 6, and 7 more were basically gifted by David Montgomery fumbling very far in his own territory. But still, this Detroit Lions defense is not top 10 in scoring defense. If they were top 10 in scoring defense, I would give them an A. And Geno Smith pretty much lit them up. I mean, if we're being honest, the person who's responsible, I would say, for the Lions not being an A to me is A, the pass rush against Seattle. That was obviously not good enough, not even close to good enough. And B, Jerry Jacobs, or the misusage of Jerry Jacobs in that Seattle game, no matter how you want to slice it. Because the Seahawks beat them 37-31. I mean, the Lions defense gave up 30 points in that game. So that's why it is still a B+. If you're talking about just rush defense, A++++++++. How many more you can, can I go any longer? But their pass defense is bottom half of the NFL.
What do you think, though? Go ahead.
No, because Lucas, I think me and you were in the same mindset here. Because Cobezilla says from historically bad last season, the league leading this season, yeah, defense gets an A+. That's like, I guess, my way I rate it. But that's fair. Well, that's fair. If you want to bring up the stinker, that's fine.
Well, and it's not even so much. I mean, it is about bringing up the stinker, but also I'm not doing my rankings based on like exceeding expectations. I'm just doing like what their grades are for this year. Because if I were doing like their expectations, I would probably give the Lions an A, their defense, but it's still not top 10. If your defense is not top 10 in scoring defense, I can't give you an A, especially when your defense played a huge role in costing you a win that you probably should have had.
Yeah, and the other part of it, even in that Seattle game, like the reason why I gave them an A is, yes, they gave up 30 points, but they held Kenneth Walker to like 40 yards.
Yeah,
so like that, they still, the run defense didn't go nowhere. So, but regardless, it's just the pass
just
defense.
To kind of like tally off your point, Jeff. Flannel to your point, Jerry Jacobs didn't play well. It could have been coaching and on his fault as well, and the pass rush. But for me, the reason why I do give him A is because we saw both of those things switch over. Pass rush specifically against Atlanta, and then carried into Green Bay, and then Green Bay. Jerry Jacobs had 2 interceptions. So that's why I was like, It was a rough game, but they responded, so I'm going to give them an A.
That's fair.
And I thought we were pretty fair today. I think all around, boys.
There was not a lot of tension today.
No. Next, we're doing a quarterback list. No, I'm just kidding.
If you want tension, tune into yesterday's episode of the Morning Woodward Show.
Jesus. All right. Let's go to break here. When we get back, let's get into Austin Eckler because I've been waiting for this. This is my probably favorite part of the entire show because I think Eckler was preaching facts yesterday on his podcast. If you didn't catch the clip, well, you're in good hands because you're with the Morning Woodward Show, and we'll go through it in just a couple of minutes. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness is the home of the judging-free zone where anybody, and we mean anybody, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You'll get all of this for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment. Now through October 13th, $1 down in 10 a month and no commitment, and you might just catch Neil Roll over there. Planet Fitness.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Let me tell you about them. Brand new state-of-the-art sports dome field house. They got that. It also has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, and soccer field that can also be used for 7-on-7 football. Listen, you enroll your child to Academy of Warren, you'll get great features. Futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, AM and PM latchkey in small classroom sizes, ideal for your child's learning process. Now, enroll them today, academyofwarren.net.
But when I watched Jahmyr Gibbs, I could tell he's a rookie, and that doesn't mean that he's not like doing well. Like he's dynamic, he's making good plays, he's hitting the right holes, things like that. But then there's just certain things that I see when I watch David Montgomery run that I'm like, yeah, that guy knows, that guy's been around for a while. And like, for instance, like running inside zones, and instead of just running to the open gap, making sure like what David does really well is he gets his shoulder square. He knows he's going to get to a gap, but then it's not just run and then kind of just run it's run straight and then jump cut, explosive, sudden change of direction, getting in there. Another thing that I think he does well, Montgomery, is he takes on half a man really well, which allows him to continue to run forward. Puts himself in a body position where he can fall forward pretty much on every single play, which really stood out to me. I think he's playing really, really well from what I've seen from him. His wide zones, same thing. Making sure he's pressing it. He has good tempo. Just things that you see from a vet that has been around, who understands the game of football, and that's going to separate you from someone who's like a rookie who's coming in, who's still playing well, but just doesn't have those little keys that he needs to learn. And so with Jahmyr, like I said, he's hitting the right spots, but there's some suddenness to him that I see at times, but I'm like, I want to see that, in the preparation, in the approach, in the runs, and set yourself up so you can make it even more explosive. I think he's just tipping his runs a little bit more than he should be right now on some of his wide zones. And like I said, it just takes time. And I hope those guys are talking about that, whoever that running back coach is over there, just because there's little keys that can help him. Like I said, for the inside zone, that's the one that really stood out to me, where it was like, okay, let's get this guy's shoulder square. And then let's say there's an open gap to the left. Instead of just running into that, right? Let's hold the defense. Right, I have my aiming point that's a little bit wider. Let's hold them shoulder square, and at the last possible second, let me jump cut, sudden jump, and then get vertical in that, so you can hold those linebackers a little bit longer, which I see David doing, whether he knows it or not, which I'm sure he does. He's been around this is like his 5th year or something. It makes a difference. It makes a difference between running through an arm tackle or running fully into somebody. And so he just looks a little green. I say this not to say that he doesn't look good, because he definitely looks good. He's ready to play in the NFL.
Yeah, really
could definitely hold down and be a starter. But it's just when I compare the two, I see the vet, I see the experience with David that is going to be continued to appreciate within Jahmyr. So to me, it makes sense why David's getting the.
It seems like, I would say Austin Eckler knows a thing or two about football, right?
I would say so. The guy, it's all right.
Austin Eckler, though, was preaching facts, by the way, to that poll. Is he speaking facts? Yeah, he is. And you know what's more interesting about this thing is Austin Eckler, the type of back he is, a little bigger than Gibbs, but same play style. Well, ideally, what you want Gibbs to be is kind of what Austin Eckler's been. Now, you like him to get 1,000. That's why I compared him more to Alvin Kamara. But regardless, they're not 1,000-yard backs, Eckler and Kamara. They're just guys that'll get you 800. And that's kind of what we envision for Jahmyr Gibbs. So what Eckler was saying there, he's right, 100%. Now, is this production ideal through 4 games? I'm not sweating it, because like he alluded to already, you got a guy in David Montgomery that, again, and I made this point against the Packers, the style of running in which he does, the physical, the type of runner to wear defenses down. That's what David brings to the table, and that's kind of what they needed last game against the Packers. Jahmyr Gibbs is averaging through 4 games 4.6 yards per carry. He's got 180, basically 179 yards rushing on the year. And even though I'll mention my one ask of Jahmyr, or of this offense, is to get Jahmyr more involved in the passing game, I really can't even talk too much. It's probably more of how they're using him, because targets-wise, he's getting about 4 a game. So if you do the averages through 4 games. So even the targets are there in the passing game. I'm not worried about Jahmyr. I think the only thing everybody, and I would speak for Lions fans on this, is you're waiting for him to just pop one, because he has the ability to. He had a 20-yard run, a 21-yard run against the Falcons. You kind of saw a flash of that. Had an 18-yard run against Kansas City on the road. But I'm not going to overreact here. You'd like him to get in the end zone one of these days, and I know it's coming soon, so I'm not going to panic. But there you go, Austin Eckler speaking on Jahmyr Gibbs. What are your thoughts on it, Sam?
Sure, and Austin Eckler is one of those backs. He's one of the 2 in the NFL right now, at least in this era, who have dominated from the running back position while never having an 1,000-yard season. And I think some people envision that from Jahmyr Gibbs. Even when he enters his prime. And here's a couple of reasons to not worry about Jahmyr Gibbs for me. Is one, what he did against Atlanta when he was actually asked to be a starter. He carried the ball 17 times for 80 yards, 4.7 yards per carry. He did more than enough to help them win that game, and I was very, very happy with what I saw. And the other reason, too, is because the Lions are winning. They are 3-1, and I'll be honest, if the Lions were having a disappointing season, if they were 2-2 and 1-3, and Jahmyr Gibbs was putting up this kind of production, I probably would be pretty worried.
But even if David was playing the way he's playing?
Well, here's the thing.
Because what's the record have to do with it?
All right, so here's actually my point as to why this whole Jahmyr Gibbs conversation does kind of bother me a little bit. It's not necessarily with what Jahmyr Gibbs has done, because as somebody in the chat just mentioned, it's Blade Noisewood. He says that he is averaging 4.6 yards per carry, Jahmyr Gibbs, which is very, very good on 39 carries.
And you're a yards per carry guy.
I am a huge yards per carry guy.
We know.
It's much
Khalil Herbert.
Hey, it's much higher than David Montgomery's, by the way. But you know what? I wasn't even going to go there. I wasn't going to go there.
Well, you went there.
And you're not.
All right, and I'm not going to go there.
Keep driving the bus.
All right.
Keep driving the bus.
All right. But here's the thing. It's not necessarily with Jahmyr Gibbs' production. It's with certain factions of Lions fans, because I think there are some people who are being a little bit too hard on Jahmyr Gibbs. If you're already saying that he could be a bust, I think that is very, very, very premature, especially considering the offense has played well and the Lions have played well. But this idea, too, that you have to kind of ease him in or whatnot, oh, he's just a rookie, that kind of bothers me a little bit, too. And you know what else bothers me? I'm not seeing this dynamic pass catcher that I was promised. I'm seeing somebody who has 14 receptions for 70 yards for 5 yards per catch. I'm not seeing somebody that you could think could be maybe their second or third leading receiver this year. I'm just not seeing that at all. I'm not seeing somebody that you can line up in the slot. I'm seeing someone that they're just kind of giving these short little passes to with no room for him to run in space. And furthermore, one of my problems with the whole Jahmyr Gibbs isn't getting a lot of usage, and that's fine argument, is that since 2010, and yes, I am going to bring this up, and a lot of people aren't going to like this, but you're just going to have to listen. Since 2010, 18 rookie running backs has rushed for 1,000 yards in a season. 18. 11 of them were not first-round draft picks. 6 of them were fifth-round draft picks or higher. And out of all of those 6, 3 of them were undrafted. Right. And people are just kind of talking about how, like, Jahmyr Gibbs, he's not going to... One second. Yeah. 1 second, and then I'll come to you. Oh, Jahmyr Gibbs. A lot of people, when they drafted him, were like, he's not an every-down back. He's not an 1,000-yard back. Well, good thing you drafted him at number 12. You know who isn't a 1,000-yard back? Bijan Robinson. You know who else isn't a 1,000-yard back? Devon Achane, who you got in the 3rd round. So who the Dolphins got in the 3rd round. So no, the Lions shouldn't worry too much because they're winning. But Jahmyr Gibbs, I just don't see star. I see solid contributor to a good offense. Lucas?
But to the point of all these running backs being taken and them being 1,000-yard backs, like, they don't have a David Montgomery in front of them. They don't have a Amon-Ra St. Brown outside of them. They don't have that offensive line in front of them. So just the way that they're being used, in my opinion, you got to put the context in there. Like, when you look at Christian McCaffrey, you can look at his early stats. Like, because if you look at the first 4-game rushing numbers, they're similar. You go to the receiving end, it's different. But their wide receiver 1 was Devin Funchess. They had the corpse of Greg Olsen. They had Jonathan Stewart there in the middle line, and Cam Newton at that point could not throw the ball down the field. That's why they drafted Christian McCaffrey. So if you look at the context of this offense and how he's being used, I really don't have a problem with it, because I think they've given him opportunities. Like, we all remember that slant that he dropped. And then so you look at that, but then you also see Sam Laporta, who's the definition of consistency right now. You're 3-1. You see that Gibbs can do those things with his potential, but he hasn't yet. You see that Sam Laporta already is doing those things. So it's one of those things where if it's not broke, don't fix it. And I'm not saying that Jahmyr Gibbs is being everything that we thought he would be yet to this point, but I still think, like, he has everything that the Lions wanted to him. Like last week when they used him on that reverse with Khalif Raymond, the fact that defense collapsed that fast, that hard to the edge, and they could flip it to Khalif, like, that's Jahmyr being a playmaker without it showing up on the stat books. And now I understand that that's not what you draft him for. But that shows you that around the NFL, they respect that man and what he can do. And just with time, like, if he was getting the 17 carries that he did against Atlanta, I guarantee we would have seen a big play if he had that every week. But the fact of the nature, he doesn't. He has a dog in front of him that's going to allow him to learn the game, that's going to mentor him in ways that he's not really used to, because he didn't run in between the tackles that much to Alabama.
Right.
David Montgomery runs between the tackles relentlessly every game. So now D-Mont can kind of mentor him in that aspect. So I just think this overall will be better for Jahmyr Gibbs' longevity with the Lions.
Yeah, and this coming to Chris Evans. Shout out to Chris Evans. He was drafted with the intent to be a weapon for years to come, not to be a star by week 5. Now, but to your point, though, Sam, because actually I get where you're coming from. And my thought process on it, because I've always had that philosophy, is if I'm drafting a running back, unless he's like, you know, one every decade type of running back. There's certain guys that you take, like a Saquon Barkley. I thought that was, even Saquon, though, his career, and look where he's at now. I mean, he had a couple great years. It is what it is. Zeke Elliott, he gave the Cowboys 5 years, and then after that, it was over. You don't want Gibbs. You're not going to give Gibbs that type of bell cow work. He's a guy that was advertised as a weapon. Now, for me to get behind it, and this is my thought process on it, I'm still kind of waiting to see it more, but it is only 4 games, is him be a weapon. Like, if he's just a running back, then yeah, like, we can have that conversation. But again, for people that are saying he's a weapon, I agree with you. But we just got to see more going forward. I'm not going to overreact through 4 games. I think he'll be a big part of the passing game still. I think it's early to say, wow, what was advertised to me, him being involved in the passing game, it ain't working. And no, I'm going to wait till J-Mo gets back, because someone else brought up a good point. Devon Achane, or Achane, however he wants to pronounce his name, that offense he's a part of it's like 4 of the fastest players in the NFL. Like, so like I get that reasoning for it, because you gotta account for Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, and then you got, of course, now Devin Achane, and then Raheem Mostert, those guys in the backfield. So for Achane, he's at least in a high-powered offense. This offense is great for the Lions, but I do think adding a guy like J-Mo could open up some things for him. And I'm not going to panic yet, but the path for this to make sense, Sam Flannel, is he's got to be a weapon, not just a running back.
Well, and that's the thing, and that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier. I haven't seen weapon. I've seen kind of your, I would say, number 2 running back who could be a starter on other teams, because, and a lot of people aren't going to like this, but these are just the numbers. Jahmyr Gibbs, to me, has had 0.0 impact in the passing game. And if you would have told me that through the first 4 games, I wouldn't have believed you. I would have said that was a disaster of a pick. And I'm not saying it has been a disaster of a pick, because the Lions have been very good. They are 3-1. All I'm saying is it is a very, very good thing that the Lions' second-round picks this year have been exemplary, 2 of your best players on the team. Because Jahmyr Gibbs, I would say, has been a little bit of a disappointment, and we haven't even talked about another person who probably needs a little more usage, the guy they picked at 18. More on him probably later in the year.
Yeah, and again, for at least Jahmyr Gibbs, he has double-digit carries in one game. That's against the Falcons. He almost averaged 5 yards per carry. So
very good.
And that's a run defense who just shut down Travis Etienne, who's a back that they compared to Jahmyr Gibbs a lot, especially in the receiving game.
So,
and he didn't do much either.
Right. And so, again, like he got more touches, basically double what he's been getting all year. He got 17, and he had 80 yards with a 21-yard run. So, again, I'm not going to hit the panic button yet on Jahmyr Gibbs. I think there's still plenty left. And for David Montgomery, who we'll talk about later in the show, when he brought up the comparison, which is funny because for those who have been watching this show for a while, when he was drafted, that was my ideal. That was my pitcher for this backfield. Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara. David brought that up on Amon-Ra St. Brown and EQ St. Brown, their podcast, and mentioned, like, that's what I kind of see. Like, when Mark when Mark was in his prime, he was the 1,200 yard back, and then you had Alvin Kamara who can give you 800 yards, but also giving you 800 yards receiving. I think Gibbs will grow into that player, give you that type of production, and if he's doing that, Sam, I can make it make sense.
Of course,
but
yes,
that's the thing.
yes.
We still got to see. So
Yes.
I'm not gonna overreact yet through 4 games. And again, that Atlanta game down the stretch when they needed him, when Atlanta knew the Lions were gonna run the football, the offense was predictable at that point. They knew the Lions wanted to run the football. Gibbs still made plays.
He stepped up in that game. I give him credit for that game.
I think if there was a game where, like, David Montgomery, and knock on wood, if David Montgomery were to have a significant injury, I am completely comfortable with Jahmyr Gibbs being the number 1 running back for the Lions, and I think that's something that we have to take account into. Like, we're just dealing with a luxury at the running back position right now.
And speak easy. Shout out to Easy Man for joining the show. Heavyweights 5 to 7. Check those boys out, man. They just returned yesterday, so big time for the network. We missed you guys, man. Easy says it's mostly fantasy guys. Honestly, that's true. It feels like all the bitching is. No, have you seen at least fantasy football Twitter?
I know,
like freaking out about Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not that bad, and you're not even that bad.
Right. No, it hasn't been about his touchdowns or anything like that. I know a lot of people who drafted Jahmyr Gibbs want him to get more red zone carries because David Montgomery is pretty much getting all of them. It's just been with his usage as a whole and his production primarily. And I said this before, it's not just about his rushing yards. It's the fact that he hasn't been that weapon. He's been a very solid number 2 back who's given you very little catching the football. That's just facts. So far. Could he improve? Absolutely.
And again, Mark Royal, the problem is Gibbs has had no impact. There were other players that the Lions could have picked that would have had an impact at 12. I don't play fantasy. No impact is aggressive.
No, and saying he has no impact is just not true. Like, that's exactly why I brought up the point about on the reverse with Khalif Raymond. Like, for the whole conversation of people talking about J-Mo being a presence out there, you can say the same exact thing with Jahmyr Gibbs being a running back. Like, his presence on the field alone is an impact, and if you don't respect that, then I guarantee Ben Johnson's going to see that and exploit it. Like, the linebackers are sweating every time they see Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield, whether it's going to him or not. And that is the definition of an impact. And if that doesn't show on a stat sheet, I'm sorry. But that's just facts. Like, you got to acknowledge that part of the game.
Yeah, I love 12 overall pick decoys. My favorite.
Well, no.
That's not what I'm saying right now, Flannel. But when people are like, he has no impact, that's not what you're saying.
Right.
The people that are saying that there's no impact, it's just ignorant. It's just like, watch the game and how he's actually being used, even if the ball is not in his hands. Like, it matters. It matters. That's what good coaches do to open up other players.
If you say Jahmyr has no impact, like, go ask opposing defensive coordinators. Like, you think they're looking at Jahmyr Gibbs like, We don't got to worry about him. Let's go to no. Of course they're gonna have to account for Jameer. Like the guy's got now home run hitting speed. We just haven't seen a home run, and that's what I'm waiting on. It'll come. I'm not worried about it. Again, for this pick to be justified to me, and maybe I'm off base here, he has to be a weapon. That's for me. A weapon. That's what we all called him. That's what I think he is still, and we'll see how that progresses. That's all. That's the path for Lions fans, all Lions fans, and the majority of them are okay with his production. But the ones that are unhappy, if he's advertised as a weapon, I think it'll be easier. It'll be an easier pill for everybody to swallow. Like you'll be like, all right, we got, because if Jameer was a wide receiver and listed at wide receiver, you took him at 12, no one's complaining.
It takes
you could take wide receivers at 12, but running backs, I get it.
All it takes is one 30-yard screen pass where he breaks one guy's ankles, and everybody will be like, oh. But until then, where people are going to bitch and complain. But I can assure you that is going to happen in the 17-game season. And everybody's going to be like, Jameer Gibbs. Because that's going to happen. Then they're going to bring in David Montgomery for 3 straight plays and bruise it down. And then they're going to check it down to Amon-Ra St. Brown for a touchdown. And be like, wow, this offense is really layered. This offense is really developed. And it's like, yeah, that's the whole point of why you take this. Because if any injuries happen, it still is.
100%. Let's go to break. When we get back, we'll talk more a little bit about the Carolina Panthers here. But first, I got to hear about our friends from Swiss Insurance.
Of course. Do you have football on the brain? Fall ushers in college and professional football, and this year has been pretty awesome so far. Fall is also a perfect time to shop your home and auto insurance. Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too. Ask for Mark at Swiss Insurance today at swissins.com or call 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177, Swiss Insurance.
And then take a drive over to Feldman Chevrolet. How about that? Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer. Guys, I got hooked up with my Chevy, and I love it. I really do. Feldman hooked me up, and they took care of me. It was an easy process, and they got over 18 locations. There's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find a location nearest to you.
Is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. Try our new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Turn up the heat with Bob's Hot Chicken Sandwich. Upgrade those regular fries with our chili cheese fries or loaded baked potato fries. Hit your sweet tooth with funnel cake fries or Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake. Load up on all your favorites today at Big Boy.
Yes, just in time for football. Glorious Cannabis is dropping a brand new ice water bubble hash infused pre-roll called Honolulu Blue. It smells so good, it's like the whiff of the first playoff win in 31 years. It's a gassy, aggressive strain named in honor of our Detroit football team. If you haven't had one of these ice water pre-rolls, you are missing out. So smooth. Find them at a Dispo dispensary near you for 25% off. Use code word Woodward Glorious and check them out online today at gloriouscanna.com.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Yeah, the breaks are all messed up, but I don't even care. All right, we're going to keep talking Carolina Panthers here to keep it going before we get to Amon-Ra St. Brown. But first, I want to ask the question, because you know what Bryce Young said about the Lions defense when he was speaking to the media? I thought this was super interesting because this is another kind of, a little, you could add it on to the whole brand new Lions narrative. They asked him about the Lions defense. You know what he said?
What's that?
I'll read the quote here because you're going to like this, Lions fans. He says, it's a really good unit. They play together, really well coached, very physical. You could tell they care a lot and communicate well. They are they were very sound in what they do. I think it's going to be a good challenge for us. They are an elite defense. He says. I'll take it. And by the way, I want to ask the question because the Panthers at this point, and I thought this stat was super interesting. I'm going to read this, and I'll probably save this one for the pregame show too because it's super important. Right now, the Carolina Panthers, if you're talking about pressure rate and the amount of sacks they've given up so far in the league, they're up there. Right now, Panthers O-line has allowed over 60 pressures in 3 weeks. That's on pace for 340 over the season. Most PFF has ever charted was 297.
Oh.
They're on pace for 340 pressures. The most they've ever recorded on PFF is 297. Basically, this offensive line for the Panthers is ass. That's the translation there. And you have a defensive line that just had 5 sacks and the week prior 7 sacks. This is an opportunity. Now, the thing though, Sam Flannel, and I want to ask the question, do the Panthers do anything that scares you? Or do anything that puts you on edge? I would say no. The only thing that actually scares me to some extent is the defense for Carolina, but even then, they haven't been great. They're like 20-ish in the league right now.
Sure.
But your thoughts on that defensive line matchup for the Lions? Because I think they can have another week where they can get 5 sacks. I really believe that.
Oh, trust me. I'm going to get into that very much more in depth tomorrow. But this Carolina Panthers offensive line, you're right. It has been about as bad as you can possibly be. And at least when it comes to protecting Bryce Young and Andy Dalton. But they're, and the thing too is the Detroit Lions defense is coming off of a couple straight weeks where they've been really getting to the quarterback hard. 12 sacks in 2 games. The thing though about the Carolina Panthers, I would say, if there's anything that maybe concerns me about them, and concern, I'm using that kind of loosely, is the fact that this isn't to me an 0-4 roster. They've got a lot of talented players. Brian Burns can single-handedly wreck a game by himself if we're not careful. Although Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker,
they do have Frankie Louvu.
Frankie Louvu's been good this year. What about Derek Brown?
Derek Brown's a legit guy.
Yeah, he's a dog.
All the points you're making right now, Flannel, they're
solid.
Right. What about Jeremy Chin? And even I know, like Jeff, you just dismissed him as this old washed-up receiver, but Adam Thielen's been balling this year.
Fuck yeah.
He has. Yes, he has.
Big
yes, he has.
1-9.
But he did his best work in the game that Andy Dalton played. My thing is,
so did DJ Chark, by the way.
Hey, and DJ Chark, he's another one that hasn't got he doesn't have a lot of receptions this year. I believe he has 7, but he's averaging over 20 yards per catch. He did have like a 45-yard touchdown in one of the games. I guess the thing is, if Bryce Young somehow figures it out, maybe the Panthers could be formidable, but especially playing behind that offensive line, Bryce Young and the protection of Bryce Young has basically been the reason why the Panthers are 0-4. Maybe I was a little bit too hard on Bryce Young yesterday, but he doesn't have a chance, and I don't think he's been very good so far anyway. He hasn't showed me a lot. So I guess if there's anything that scares me is the fact that the Panthers do have some players. I think they have more high-end players than your typical 0-4 team, but it doesn't necessarily scare me. It just is something that Lions shouldn't overlook.
Now, and this is maybe I don't know how this is going to register with people, and this is foul, Lucas, you can call me out.
Okay.
I'm more scared of Andy Dalton right now than Bryce Young.
Not even close.
100%.
Through 4 games.
Yes. 100%.
Just at this point. Bryce Young, I think, will be fine, big picture. But through 4 games, like Andy Dalton, like you mentioned, like DJ had his best game, his really only good game
so did Adam Thielen.
with Andy Dalton out there. But I want to read this comment because I'll let you handle this one. Burn. Adam Thielen being their best receiver is a bad sign.
I mean, it is.
Okay, so he's not
been balling. Like at this point, if we're talking 3-4 years ago, no. But at this point, like Adam Thielen is an amazing wide receiver too to have. Maybe even you could knock him down to like that slot level and kind of use him as like what. But him as a wide receiver 1 with Bryce Young as your quarterback, Miles Sanders sitting in there in pass protection. Like,
the worst free agency signing this entire offseason probably is Miles Sanders. For the money he's paid and what's going on.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
For
that's
a running
fair.
back. Like, that's ridiculous.
Tremaine Edmonds is up there, too.
Yeah, he's up there, too.
That's a great one.
Actually, didn't the Raiders sign Chandler Jones this offseason?
No, that was last year.
Okay.
Because he kind of balled out, and then he got hurt.
All right, I was going to rank that one up there. But no, yeah, you're right. Miles Sanders or Tremaine Edmonds. But maybe I'm alone on this, and we'll see how this ages, but Adam Thielen.
Don't disrespect him.
He's balling.
He's no Chase Claypool.
He's balling. He had a good game against the Seattle Seahawks, I believe it was.
No, he's had consistent games.
Consistent.
He had like 8 catches last week, and then following 130 yards, and then he had like kind of the same. He hasn't had a bad game yet.
Oh, he hasn't.
And he's in a shithole.
Cam Sutton's gonna put him in a jail cell. That's what's gonna happen.
Probably.
Maybe.
But I'm not complaining too much about that.
And by the way, I'm salty. Stroud over Young. At this point, yeah, Stroud is the best quarterback in the class.
Richardson over Young.
No. I'm kidding.
I will not stand for this. No, Burns says Thielen has been a fine NFC North wide receiver. Yeah, that is true. I actually am a fan of Adam Thielen. He's always had his good games against the Lions. But it's not even more about, I shouldn't say like I'm trashing Adam Thielen and what he can do. It's just, I don't think Bryce will have time. Like, I just think this Lions defense has been getting pressure without blitzing. That's scary. They've only blitzed like 20% of their defensive plays, and they're getting pressure.
And the thing is, they're going to have, like, Bryce Young is going to have to sit back there and throw. Like, I don't see a path of Miles Sanders getting going in this game, especially when you look at the Panthers' offensive line and how they run block. Like, Bryce Young is about to have to sit back there for 30 to 35 attempts. And he's not. I'm not saying this to wish an injury on anybody. I seriously, I see Bryce Young not making out of the game. Like, I don't see a path for him staying healthy for all 4 quarters.
He's already missed a game.
Isaiah Buggs landing on Bryce Young. Benito Jones landing on Bryce Young. That's a separated shoulder waiting to happen. Just waiting to happen.
Yeah, he had a couple sacks he took against the Vikings, and it looked like he was hurt. Like a couple of them beginning. And that's the Vikings defensive line. And they got Hunter over there in Hicks, but still, Lions defense. Yeah, like I mean, like Dan Wood says, Buggs would squash him. Yeah, if Buggs falls on you, you're not having a great day.
335 pounds of man.
It's a lot of man.
Straight man.
A lot of man. Pause. But that's a lot of man. Do not clip that, JB. All right, let's go to break. Here we get back. We can get into the Amon-Ra St. Brown discussion. We'll revisit that because, listen, I said he'd go for 1,400. Even at that time, I don't even know if I believed what I was saying, but it's because I was confident. He had almost 1,200 last year, missing 2 games. And right now, we got a graphic that was put out on Woodward Sports, credit to Lucas, that kind of puts some context in what he's been doing over a certain amount of stretch of games. And you're going to want to see how productive he's been. It's actually ridiculous. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Big Boy, because burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. You see it on the screen there. If you're watching on YouTube, you can try the best cheeseburger or their new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Come on, that's ridiculous. Craven Chicken, they got the Dolly chicken sandwich. Upgrade your fries. They got dessert as well. The chocolate peanut butter, Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake, or their funnel cake fries. Try it all. Big Boy.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Outdoor Equipment is the best place to get all of your outdoor project materials. You got mowers, handhelds, tractors, trailers, snow equipment, and even a weed whipper. Serving the Great Lakes region, 866-688-7847. You can give them a call, or if you want delivery straight to your door, you can visit their website at outdoorequipco.com.
Check them out.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Plenty more to get to. And I want to kind of have the conversation about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Appreciate you guys for joining the show. If you could do us a favor, hit the like button. We're 40 away from 200. Let's try to hit it by the end of the program. But for right now, if you missed the show, you can always go back, re-listen on any podcast platform. And if you find us, Morning Woodward Show, leave a 5-star review. We much appreciate it. For Sam and his lumberjack flannel today.
Thank you.
Come on, the guy's showing out for you. Leave a 5-star review. Look at that. Look at those muscles. We're going to Planet Fitness.
His Chiefs flannel.
The Chiefs, yes, his Chiefs Steve flannel. Let's discuss Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you have the graphic, right? You can put it up because this put context behind what he's actually doing. Look at that. Detroit Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown has been on a tear over his last 15 games. St. Brown has compiled, look at this, 104 catches, 1,200 yards, over 1,200, 11.7 yards per catch, higher than his average before this year. 31 rushing yards, 5 TDs. I'm telling you. And that's over the last 15 games.
Since the Dallas game where he got concussed. This is post-concussion Amon-Ra St. Brown.
So concussed St. Brown since then has went for over 1,200 yards.
That made him lock in.
In 15, no, that's messed up. But you're right, though. He's been producing after that game. And you think about it, in 15 games, you give him 17, Sam, and he gets it 80 yards one game, 80 yards another game, whatever, because you book him for at least 60 a game.
Sure.
He's in that 1,400 range. Now, the question I have, and at least for this season, through only 4 games, he's been productive. Had a little bit of a, it seems like against the Packers, they always contain, I don't even know if contain's the right word to St. Brown because he had a TD catch. But against the Packers, he had a low for St. Brown, 5 catches for 56 yards and a TD. That's like, what? And he had a drop, 2 drops, which was another what? You don't really see that with St. Brown. I think he has 330 yards through 4 games. If you do the numbers, times that by 4, and then add 1 more game, he's getting in that tier, Sam Flannel, for close to 1,400 yards.
Yes, actually, if you kind of put the numbers up to a 17-game season, he is on pace for 1,407 receiving yards, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I wouldn't bet against him. The only thing that I think could maybe hurt him is he has missed practice. He is still listed as questionable. Am I saying that he's not going to play against Carolina? I'm not so sure about that. But still, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a guy who has dealt with kind of being nicked up a little bit. He hasn't dealt with any major injuries, knock on wood. But he's always a guy who's a little bit banged up because he is a little bit undersized in the way that he plays. But Amon-Ra St. Brown so far this season, he has been about as quiet of a star receiver as you can possibly be. He hasn't quite gotten his due. And in 2 of those games, he's had over 100 yards. And if you want to get to 1,400, you got to start stacking up those 100-yard games. Both of them were 102. You'd like to see him sprinkle in like a 125, a 130, or a 140 at some point. And the one thing that you don't want to do, this is just when it comes to getting 1,400 yards, because that is a hell of an ask, even for Amon-Ra St. Brown. You don't want to have too many games where you're under 60. And in the last game, even though he set the tone for the game by catching that long 25-yard touchdown from Jared Goff, he only gave you 5 for 56. Again, I use only very, very loosely because Amon-Ra St. Brown had a huge impact on the game. So I think that there's a chance that he gets 1,400. If there's anything else that could possibly hurt him just in his pursuit of 1,400, not in his impact as a player, is the fact that Sam Laporta has emerged. He's also on pace for 1,000. Josh Reynolds is on pace for over 900. And you're getting Jamison Williams back. And presumably, and I'm saying presumably because I'm not 100% sure, you're going to want to get Jahmyr Gibbs involved more in the passing game. I don't know if there's going to be enough targets to go around for Amon-Ra St. Brown to get to 1,400, but the fact that he's on pace for it after 4 games, even though you don't really hear about him as much as some Detroit Lions players and as much as some wide receivers throughout the league, it is damn impressive, and I wouldn't put it past him. I still think that there's a very, very good chance he gets it.
Yeah, and I'm going to stay consistent with this. I think he goes for 1,400. I said it before the season, and I believe it, because he did it last year. Well, he did 1,200 last year, essentially, almost 1,200, and that was with other receivers around him. DJ Chark was injured for a stretch of that game, but you still had the others he essentially has now. And Sam Laporta was not here. But even with Sam Laporta producing, he's still getting, in week 1 against Kansas City, 9 targets. Seattle, 7 targets. Atlanta, 12 targets. And then Green Bay, 7 targets. His targets aren't going to change. And that's what I like. Amon-Ra St. Brown is too damn good not to keep feeding him the football. So even if Jamison Williams comes back. Well, he's still going to get 8 targets. Like, St. Brown's, I don't think his targets decrease. But you're right, Sam. He's going to have some of those games like other receivers have. Like, is he Justin Jefferson? No, but Justin Jefferson could have 150 yards. And, yeah, it means well going forward. You got to have one of those big games. I think it's coming for St. Brown. He's at 100 twice in 4 games. So 1,400's on the table, and I believe he'll do it. And does anybody I ain't counting out at St. Brown?
Yeah, Jeff, you called that at the beginning of the season. I said no. I think he's probably going to be like 1,200 yards. But I think he's definitely going to reach it. And Flannel, kind of to your point with Jamison Williams coming back, I think that's going to help Amon-Ra get those big play or big yardage games because now those safeties going to be further back. You can run J-Mo deep, push the whole secondary back, check it to Amon-Ra St. Brown like a 15-yard catch, and then we all know what he can do run after the catch as far as breaking tackles. So I think those big chunk plays are going to happen. I completely see a path for Amon-Ra St. Brown getting 1,400 yards. I would bank on it for sure.
The only thing, and I'll say this, that could counteract that is the Lions playing with a lead more often.
Yeah.
They were behind a lot last year, so they were passing the ball a lot. That's the only thing. Like if they do have a lead, they're going to run the football. They're going to play conservative. Like I get all of that. But something just tells me, like, even in close games, you're going to Amon-Ra St. Brown. When J-Mo gets back, who does it help? Amon-Ra St. Brown, among others. But having a guy like that, like J-Mo, even though we expect J-Mo to produce, St. Brown, I think, will just benefit naturally because of that. Because, again, safety's going to have to key in on Jamison. So it means Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he's upped his yards per reception this year. He's just been a more dangerous weapon. He never drops balls. When he does, it's surprising to everybody. But I do think he's going to have, if not 1,400, he'll just miss it. He'll have more than he had last year. Guys, he almost had 1,200 missing 2 games. And I think he's improved. He got better. So, again, he's familiar now. Another year in the system. Him and Jared Goff, the rapport keeps building. Like that's the only way it doesn't happen, Flannel, is if they're going to have more leads this year. So that's fair.
Yeah, no, and that is 100% fair. And the other thing that I'm thinking about when it comes to Amon-Ra St. Brown at 1,400 here, I'll make this statement right now because I think that this is it's kind of Captain Obvious, but still I think it's very apropos for this. If Amon-Ra St. Brown plays in all 17 games, he'll get it. If he even misses 1 game, he won't. Yeah. And if he does get 1,400 yards, I think Amon-Ra St. Brown, you got to put him on the second team All-Pro.
I agree. I mean,
absolutely.
CeeDee Lamb got it. He was All-Pro second team last year, second team All-Pro, and he had 13 something.
Sure.
And, like, not even double-digit touchdowns. Like, St. Brown can give you a similar stat line. He should be All-Pro.
Absolutely. And, I mean, would it shock you if he has a couple more, like, really good games? I mean, if he has, like, a 125 or even a couple more 102. And the thing about Amon-Ra St. Brown, too, which I think you can count on, you can almost pencil in, he's not going to have one of those games where he has, like, 3 catches for 28 yards.
No.
Jared Goff loves him.
He does.
It's like it's basically his, like, football wide receiver heaven is Amon-Ra St. Brown, if that makes any sense. That is his guy. That is, like, his guardian angel out there. He is never going to not target Amon-Ra St. Brown, even if he gets some of them taken away by other receivers. But still, like you said, maybe Jamison Williams and maybe more of a usage of Jahmyr Gibbs can open up the middle of the field for even more Amon-Ra St. Brown, like 3rd and 10, 15-yard catch and runs.
And I think in the postseason, like he is the receiver. Yeah.
Especially it's going to be cold. Like those are the guys, like just the dependable slot guys. That's why Julian Edelman was such a beast in New England, because it's just when plays need to be made in tough conditions, those are the guys that give them to
you. You need a guy that's always open and doesn't drop footballs.
And
that same Brown.
The other thing is, too, like, just look at the schedule ahead. Look at the secondaries that Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be facing. It's going to be Carolina with no J.C. Horn. Buccaneers are all front 7. I understand they have Antoine Winfield and Carlton Davis, but there's not anything that's stopping Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, they lost Sean Murphy-Bunting this offseason.
The Ravens have a straight secondary, but they're always banged up. Marlon Humphrey's hurt right now. The Raiders.
Ooh.
The Chargers, talented secondary, but then again, they hardly ever shut down a wide receiver.
Yeah.
The Bears twice, the Vikings twice. The only good secondary they have coming their way is if a Packers secondary is healthy, and then Cowboys late in the season. So not only does he have Ben Johnson and all the things working for the Lions for him, but he also has the fact that secondary-wise, there's nobody that's going to be locking him down for the rest of the season.
That's a great point, Lucas.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. He could really stack up some like 115, 120-yard games against those secondaries, especially the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
That's barbecue chicken.
Barbecue chicken
and the Bears and the Vikings for that matter too. Bears and Vikings, you get to play twice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's barbecue chicken.
Oh, he's getting 1,400 yards.
Yeah.
Now I'm like 100% convinced, even if he plays 15 or 16 games.
I'll tell you what though, if he played the Chiefs 17 games a year, he'd get 1,400. I'll just say that. No, take that, Sam Flannel. All right, let's go to break. No, I'm just kidding. Let's go to break here. When we get back, we'll get into Thursday Night Football and kind of trash on what we're going to have to watch tonight. Psych, we'll be watching Woodward Nights, as you should too. But let's break down the game tonight, give our predictions. How much does this game mean for Justin Fields? We'll answer all that and more. But first, I got to hear about our friends over at Guardian Alarm.
Absolutely a great defense. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Looking for a convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness.
You know it.
Now through October 13th, join for just $1 down, $10 a month. We've got over 2,400 locations with most open 24 hours. Join now to enjoy free fitness training and equipment for every workout. You belong in the judgment-free zone. Join Planet Fitness today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment. Cancel anytime. Deal ends Friday, October 13th.
Over 50 Metro Detroit locations.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports Crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions!
With money on the line, featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. Try our new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Turn up the heat with Bob's Hot Chicken Sandwich. Upgrade those regular fries with our chili cheese fries or loaded baked potato fries. Hit your sweet tooth with funnel cake fries or Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake. Load up on all your favorites today at Big Boy.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Fairway Packing because, listen, if you want beef, Fairway Packing has it.
Get your meats.
Get your meats here at Fairway Packing. Experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop at Grosse Pointe Woods for grab and grow steaks, delicious steaks. They got it, prime beef, dry aged beef, anything you need. Fairway Packing has it. Out or online, fairwaypacking.com. Thursday Night Football. Chicago Bears. Washington Commanders.
Ooh-wee.
Ooh-wee. Can't wait.
Sam Howell.
Sam Howell.
There's a chance for this game to get a little bit exciting, no?
Give me the path, Lucas. What's the path that this thing's exciting?
Lucas, you didn't even sound confident in
I
that.
didn't.
Really
I was
didn't.
trying to have some optimism. The only path is if somehow Chicago can keep Chase Young and that front seven from getting to Justin Fields, which is not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
How are you guys thinking about this? Is it, I hope the Commanders win because I hate the Bears, or is I don't want the Bears to lose all these games and potentially just draft Caleb Williams? Where are you at? I don't know. I want to see the Bears lose tonight.
I mean, me personally...
But then another part of me is like, well, hopefully they start winning.
I think the Bears are bound for the one pick regardless. That'll be their sole win of the season, a Thursday night game where the Commanders are shit the bed. But I want to see the Bears lose at all times. Because at the end of the day, my whole take, like if the Bears get Caleb Williams, it's not that I'm not like, oh shit. But at the end of the day, when has a quarterback by himself just turned the organization around? They had to get a new GM, new coach, look at the ownership a little bit. So if the Bears get Caleb Williams, I think they'd be very good in the regular season. Maybe the postseason once he reaches a prime. But I don't think it's like they would now turn into a dynasty.
And they got
like,
the Panthers pick, right?
Yeah, so they have 1 and 2. So
so even if they do win, Panthers are going to lose a shit ton.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a top 3 pick. The very minute. They could get Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison.
And well, no. If they have the number 1 pick, they'd be taking J.J. McCarthy, the best player in the world.
My apologies. Sam Flannel.
All right.
You could deal with that one.
Well, I mean, the Bears, that's a tough one because even if they were to get Caleb Williams, even if they were to take and get Caleb Williams, I'm not convinced that the Bears organizationally have been so bad with quarterbacks that at some point it just has to go to just the Bears are cursed or the mentality of their team overall. Because, I mean, think about this. The last one, Justin Fields. I'm out on him completely. Despite the great 3 quarters he played in the last game, he still did what Justin Fields does. And turn the football over that's returned for a touchdown, and then do nothing in the clutch, throw an interception when his team needed him the most. And then you go back to Mitch Trubisky. You can say definitively that, you can argue that their best quarterback as a franchise since Sid Luckman in the 40s is Jay Cutler.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is unbelievable.
The douchebag.
Yes, and
douchebag.
And I don't give me Jim McMahon. He got to play with Walter Payton in the '85 Bears defense. He was basically a replacement level quarterback.
He was a bad boy though. Did
he
you
was
see
a
that
bad
headband
boy.
that he wore?
Roselle. He put Roselle on there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, bad boy for
He
life.
fit the identity of the '85 Bears so well. No, Jim McMahon was a very, very average quarterback. But anywho, I think there is a chance that this game. Here's what I'm looking forward to watching. Lucas, I saw you give me that look.
No, I'm laughing at Katz's comment.
Okay.
He's dying on the Jim McMahon hill.
That is not the hill to die on.
Does he even have 100 touchdown passes in his career? Has he even had a season in which he had 15? I don't think so. I think his career high was 14. I could be wrong. But here's what I'm looking forward to in watching in this game. And you guys cannot poo-poo this no matter how hard you try. Will this defensive line by the Washington Commanders, which is very, very good, Chase Young, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, will they sack Justin Fields 6 times tonight? I mean, I know Justin Fields is elusive, but that offensive line for the Bears has not played very well this year, and they're not someone to write home about as well. So I really love the Commanders front four. Honestly, you'd think that their defense would actually be better than it is because they have so much talent on their defensive line, and they're all balling out. Chase Young balling out, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, Deron Payne, they're all having good seasons. So I just want to see how they match up with the Bears' offensive line.
And people saying Caleb is saying at USC if Bears get the #1 pick, I think that is the case. With NIL now, like he has the leverage to be like, no, I'm good. I'm not going to your trash-ass organization. You know what, though? The reason why I'm out on Fields, and you saw what he could be against the Broncos, which everybody seems to show what they could be against the Broncos. That's how it's been trending. But the reason why I'm out on Fields is because of C.J. Stroud. He walked into the league and is doing what we've been waiting on Fields to do with a worse situation. Am I off?
No.
You know what I mean, though, Luke? Like
I know what you mean.
Like that's kind of where my thought process is with the whole Fields thing. Is people keep telling me it's the organization. They keep telling me it's this, it's that. I'll tell you what, swap Fields and Stroud right now. Do it right now. And I would love to see that context. I would love to see how Stroud's playing in Chicago and how Fields is playing in Houston. I would love to.
Fields would be a star in Houston.
You know what?
He would flourish under DeMeco Ryan.
You know what's crazy is that Houston offensive line, like the last 2 games, they haven't given up a sack. And C.J. Stroud's been balling, but and even he's been really balling all year for the most part. But that offensive line, the first 2 games, were on pace to be like one of the worst. They were dealing with injuries, but Stroud's overcoming all of these things. But for Fields, it's he doesn't have this. He got a #1 receiver, but his coach sucks. And by the way, side note, if they lose tonight, Matt Eberflus, see ya.
Absolutely,
fire his ass right now. I'm out.
Swap him out for Matt Canada.
Ooh, no. I mean, you know what? Bears, be my guest. Do that. And I'll tell you who else is getting fired soon. Ryan Poles. I remember before the season, people were actually saying, I'm not saying that these were serious people, but there was some talk of Ryan Poles is kind of the new hot GM, kind of like what Brad Holmes has been. And I'll tell you what, that trade that was made for Chase Claypool, one of the worst trades in the history of the NFL. Even that trade for DJ Moore. I know DJ Moore played a very, very good game last week, but the reality, and getting Tremaine Edmonds, I know that Tremaine Edmonds, you couldn't have foreseen him being this bad and hurt, but this is a Bears team after they spent all that money, after they had a draft that they were excited about. This is, at best, a 3-win football team, at best. And they're losing tonight, by the way. They're not beating the Commanders. The Commanders are better than we thought.
He'll be guarding DJ Moore tonight, Jeff.
Yeah, he actually had a bad game last week.
It happens. He's a rookie, man.
I saw what was being reported. He was getting death threats from Washington fans. He deleted all his social media. Cleared all his socials and everything. He was crying on the sideline. I don't know. Who was AJ Brown? That's who gave him the work.
You're a rookie man-to-man corner, but with the damn near the same frame as me. It's and you're going up against AJ Brown. Yeah, he's going to lose that as a rookie. What do you expect? AJ Man is a man amongst boys.
Yeah, you're on an island with a man that is a linebacker in size. It's not ideal. But regardless, I'm excited to watch Emmanuel Forbes, and I'm excited to see Sam Howell. This is prime time. Like, let's see what he's got.
He's going to be cutting it up. Jahan Dotson, over. Lock of the day.
That's your lock of the day? That's a Lucas Kloss lock of the day? Okay. Booner, you chime in on that. Jahan Dotson on the over. Booner says, Bears win total right now is 4.5. Jeff, that has to be an easy win on the under, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Has to be. But at the same time, you know what, though? Speaking of the whole, like, if they can win a couple games later in the season, because I think the Bears can string off a couple wins. You know who else brought up the Lions 1-6 start? Bryce Young. Can we stop with this? Justin Fields did it. Bryce Young did it. The Lions last year were 1-6, and then they turned it around. Don't lose hope in us Panthers fans and Chicago Bears fans. Like, I get why you're saying that, because you're trying to just keep the fans bought in. But I'm telling you, this is the problem when you say things like that. You put yourself in the spotlight. Like, if the Bears don't go on this winning streak at the end of the season, yeah, Justin Fields, that's an L. That's another L on top of the season you had. So Bryce Young pulled that one out of his bag yesterday. And I like Bryce, but damn, you guys got to stop bringing up the Lions and their damn 1-6 start to turn it around. That does not happen all the time.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
I will say this. If you're 0-3 and you've got a home game against the 0-3 Broncos, I didn't have a problem with what Justin Fields said. But if you're 0-4, I mean, your season's already pretty much over if you're 0-3. But if you're 0-4, it's just like pack it up, roll the tanks in, no question about it. So I don't think either of those teams will have a 1-6 turnaround. I will just say that. And the Bears, they are definitely winning less than 4.5 games. They're one of those teams to me, and I know I can't kind of quantify this with numbers. They just seem allergic to winning. They had everything that they could have possibly wanted to have go right, at least in the first half against the Broncos, a 28-7 lead, and they just everything that could go wrong in the last quarter did, and that's what the Bears are.
Yeah, do people forget?
They can't finish.
Do people forget that the Lions, like, this is what like makes me? It actually makes me cringe when I hear things like that. When Bryce and Justin Fields say that. Again, I get it. They're quarterbacks. They're franchise quarterbacks. Justin Fields right now, but regardless, they have to say these things. Do you guys not understand? Are the Bears the top 5 offense? Are the Panthers the top 5 offense?
No.
That's what the Lions were last year.
They haven't sniffed a draft class like the Lions in the last decade, like the Lions have had, even over just the last season.
No.
Like, they haven't drafted anywhere close. The Panthers, they got Cam Newton at the 1 pick. That's the best thing they've done in the draft. Christian McCaffrey, I'll give him credit for too, but they've not drafted even close to how the Lions have over the last 2 years.
Yeah, when you say things like that, the Lions were 1-6, but had a top 5 offense. Like, they were buzzing. They could score with anybody. Their defense couldn't stop anybody. The Bears are abysmal. Abysmal. The Panthers can't even clear 20 points a game. Like, it's bad. Like, I don't want to hear that 1-6 bull crap. That is bad.
I feel like the only team that could honestly say that right now is the Vikings with Brian Flores. Like, they get Brian Flores to turn around that defense. Their offense is putting up points. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I think that's the only team in the NFL that could use that excuse right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't hate it.
Let's go to break here. We get to what's trending with Lucas, but first we got to hear about our friends from Dispo.
Of course, experience Dispo Romeo, a team that curates an exclusive atmosphere mixed with fresh inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. The first ever cannabis mall of its kind is conveniently located off of Van Dyke and 32 Mile Road in Romeo. Dispo Romeo is now open late night until midnight every day except Sunday. Can it get any better than that? Dispo Dispensary, disposhops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
When buying or selling real estate, flexibility and control over the sales process is key. Sellers, how would you like the freedom of canceling your listing agreement at any time for any reason with no penalty? That is exactly what Mark White & Associates offers. It's called the Minute-by-Minute Listing Agreement by Mark White & Associates. Try Mark White's risk-free minute-to-minute listing agreement today. Looking to buy or sell real estate? Visit markwhitesells.com or call 248-290-8242. markwhitesells.com, where flexibility meets success.
You know what time it is. Lucas, what's trending with Lucas?
Oh, it's that special time.
Talk to me. What do you got?
Oh, we got a couple good ones for you. Let's start off with this. We already saw people talking about the Lions, but let's have some Lions talking about some Lions.
Ooh.
David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Equanimous St. Brown. They were on a pod together, and this little clip from it right here is comedy, so just check out what they had to say.
Oh, Quay Walker, big as shit. Huh? Oh my God. Hey, where's your camera? Like, can you look at the camera just for the, so it looks, yeah. But like, it's perfect, just like that.
You're full black, so he's half black. He's 50% black.
You, my friend, are racist. Armin, you cool, bro. You cool, but you only like riding with Munch, and I don't really like that. You know what I mean?
You're talking a little too much. We have to go to the next question here. What has no skips? Answer that. Answer that. That's the new question.
Yo, you don't ask me questions that you're expecting a different response from. Ask the question and you live with my damn answer. That's not how we doing this. If you're gonna do that, give me multiple choice. God damn it! But from me now, look, don't say shit else. I'm gonna give you my answer. You gonna live with it. God damn it!
I know you were a Boy Scout.
I'm an Eagle Scout.
Is that where you sell cookies? I'm tripping. Those are Girl Scout cookies.
Have y'all ever had anybody leave y'all podcast? You know, I blow this whole up. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a you know what I'm saying? I've been keeping it real cordial with y'all, but y'all
I like that. Those are the answers we need.
I can't wait to see him tomorrow. I'm gonna slap piss out of him, boy. Think.
Dude.
Comedy. I just thought it was comedy. I want everybody to see it if they didn't, but I didn't think David Montgomery was funny like that. You know what I mean?
He's funny as
hell.
hell.
He's just a real ass dude.
That is the best pod they've had so far. Because I watch every week. I love the St. Brown Brothers podcast, and St. Brown, I love him because him and EQ are like opposites. Like Saint's a little bit of a troll, and I love, like, you could feel David when he's like, "I'm gonna slap the piss out of you tomorrow."
that part where he's like, "I'm gonna give you the answer that I want." That was me and you yesterday.
Yeah, that's a Lucas quote right there.
Man.
If you want the answer, give me multiple choice. If you want me to answer the one you want me to answer. Dave Montgomery's hilarious.
Yeah.
And he's a dog.
Indeed.
Makes me love him even more, to be honest with you.
Something else that I thought was hilarious. I don't know if you guys peeped the comments yesterday, but Giants tackle Evan Neal.
What'd he do?
He made some outlandish remarks about New York Giants fans. So if you guys have peeped this,
no.
I think it gives the context. But this is a radio host in New York, and he reacts to the news.
Right tackle Evan Neal looked up towards the stands, raised his arms, and gestured sarcastically. He said he did not flip off fans, but he did yell a clear message to them. They are booing us, so I said, boo louder, Neal told NJ Advanced Media on Wednesday. Why would a lion concern himself with the opinion of a sheep, he added. The person that's commenting on my performance, what does he do? Flip hot dogs and hamburgers somewhere? Are you kidding me? I'd cut his ass. I would. How dare you? These people pay your salary. They pay an obnoxious amount of money to park, an obnoxious amount of money for PSLs, to sit there and watch this pap, and you call them hamburger flippers? What, you're so much better? I'd rather have a guy that's flipping hamburgers block than your piece of garbage ass. Who the hell are you to talk to fans like that? You piece of garbage. I hate when players do that. You're not above us. What, because you happen to play a sport? You're better than me? You're better than the people that pay your salary? These Giant fans were here before you, and they'll be here after your sorry ass is cut. What a piece of human trash. And I don't want to hear some apology. I don't want to hear, I was taken out of context. I didn't mean it. I don't want to hear, done. I would cut his fat ass. If you see him in the mall of Willowbrook, boo his ass. If you see him on the DMV, boo him. Don't stop booing him. If he goes to the Pro Bowl, boo him. If he wins a Super Bowl, boo his sorry ass. Screw that guy. We're not nobody. Flipping, but how do you condescend to people that pay to watch you play? Poorly, I might add.
Hey,
kudos. Kudos.
Bro.
That should have had me in tears when I heard that last night.
That who pissed off Jerry Seinfeld? Is that like that guy? He kind of sounds like Jerry Seinfeld. And by the way, New York media, that is not a fight, Evan, you want to pick with New York media. And especially saying the lion doesn't compare himself to the opinion of a sheep. Like,
every writer in New York, every media head in New York a hamburger flipper.
yeah, that is ridiculous. That man, Evan Neal, he has struggled. He struggled. But that ain't the move, Sam.
Oh.
Don't mess with New York fans.
No, I don't know if I can really add.
Media.
I don't even know if I can really add anything to that because that New York radio host put it so well that all I can basically do is just bow and give him the slow clap. But it's the same. I can't stand that type of stuff where it's like he's basically I know that it's like that. So what if they are hamburger flippers? So what if they are hot dog flippers? They are New York Giants fans. And Evan Neal, you're not any better than any of them. You're just a guy who had an absurd amount of talent, an absurd size and build and frame. But I'll tell you what, that talent really isn't doing you any good in New York because he has been a debacle so far as a New York Giant. He has been horrible. He has been everything that he has been everything. Andrew Thomas has been everything that Evan Neal has not been.
Yes,
Evan Neal has been terrible.
Actually, Andrew Thomas has been damn good. Now, the other part of that, too, with this whole thing is, and I'm going to read this comment. Shane D says, Jeff's uncle has a podcast. That man, you could hear the Italian in him. I don't know what he was pissed off. And I think a lot of fans kind of feel the same way, especially New York fans, that he feels like he makes a Super Bowl, boo his ass. He makes an All-Pro, or he makes a Pro Bowl, boo his ass.
You see him at the DMV,
boo his ass. Yeah, I think that was, you know what, hey, you picked a fight, you're going to have to handle the smoke that comes your way. So I have no problem with what that guy said. I don't. And Evan Neal, just, dude, this is welcome to the NFL. You're going to get booed. If you stink, you're going to get booed.
Especially, did you guys see the play where he's obviously a tackle and Darren Waller's outside of him blocking the defensive end? And instead of Evan Neal blocking a Seahawks defender, he turns and he pushes Darren Waller.
Ooh, yeah.
He pushes Darren Waller.
God.
And now the defensive end that Darren Waller is blocking is free. Evan Neal pushes Darren Waller this way. Darren Waller's guy goes inside. Evan Neal gives up his third sack of the game.
It's ridiculous. I mean, to come at people that flip hot dog, who gives a damn? These people are working hard to pay money to see your garbage ass. So, even if I am flipping hot dogs, I still got to save money, go buy a Giants ticket or two to take somebody and watch you give up 3-4 sacks a game. So, yeah, I'm pissed off if I'm a Giants fan. That's fair. Dan Wood says Grandpa Joe is a New York podcaster. Yeah, that was Grandpa Joe vibes there. I love it. That was great, Lucas. Appreciate it. We'll go to break. We get back. We get to mailbag. But first, I got to hear about our friends from Lady Jane's, and then I'll tell you about our friends from Les Stanford.
Oh, absolutely. Come to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, a place where I get all of my A-plus haircuts from A-plus stylists for an award-winning haircut experience. Register to win a trip of your dreams and all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament. That's right. No expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
After you get your haircut, go over to Les Stanford. Pick up a new 2022 Silverado Crew Cab, $289 a month.
Crew Cab?
And listen, you get into Les Stanford, and if you run a great business like they do over there, you expand and offer more products to more people. It's exactly what Les Stanford does. The same great service that customers have to come and trust on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. Go check it out in Dearborn as well. Find the brand you want at LesStanford.com.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com. as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Play, practice, and party at 5 Iron Golf, downtown's newest sports bar. We'll be down there tonight. Me, Lucas, Booner, and Mike will be down there attempting to golf, so come visit, come hang out. Again, they got it all down there. Pray, practice, and party. They have the sim rentals. They have different lessons if you're getting into it, leagues, and, of course, a bar and restaurant you can go with whoever you want to go to, whether that's a female or a couple of your buddies. Doesn't matter. Mention promo code Woodward at checkout for 50% off your first visit, and visit 5irongolf.com to tee up good times. We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show. And by the way, Easy's dropping the band hammer. We got to let Easy, let these guys, even if Brandon Katz, I don't agree with what he says, you just let him cook.
Yeah, let him cook.
Whatever he's cooking, he's burning the food.
Yeah, maybe this is just like where he gets his stress out of. Maybe he's genuinely, he contributes to society, but everybody has you go work out, release some stress. Maybe just comes in here.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It helps out algorithm at the very least.
Yeah, and listen, Brandon Katz, maybe I don't like what he says, but he is giving us a viewer. So you know what, do whatever you got to do.
It's not like he's a piece of shit human being either. It's not like he's done a crime.
No, he has not done a crime. That is fair. All right,
let the man speak.
This is I'm Salty says this was his one release of stress. Yeah,
it could be.
This is his only outlet.
We all have outlets.
He's in here all day, just anything you say, counter in seconds.
Easy says he'll talk when I'm ready. No, Easy, that's on the heavyweights. You declare that on the heavyweights, all right? Let's get to these comments. Shot says, Mailbag, do you think the reason why people are questioning Gibbs and J-Mo is due to who could have been picked instead of at 6 and Gibbs for Gibbs and 12 for J-Mo? They're soft and preparing to see them as busts. Yeah, it's always Shot, and you know this as Lions fans. They're always going to do the revisionist history stuff. I mentioned Jalen Carter yesterday to make a comparison, and I got called, someone who's claiming that we should have taken Carter. I just brought Carter up as a comparison. That's how fans are right now. No one likes to do that, and I agree. I don't like bringing that up either. You notice how we haven't really talked a ton about going back to that draft class and seeing who we could have gotten.
Sure.
Because you could do that every single draft class. That's just how that works.
It's the Detroit Lions. It's not the Lucas Lions. It's not the Jeff Lions. It's not the Sam Flannel Lions. It's the Detroit Lions. If
100%.
That's your team, root for them, especially if they're winning.
Yeah, 100%. That's all that matters. And let's see here, because people are chiming in. Justin Reese, Mailbag, are the Lions buyers of the trade deadline? If so, who is your realistic get? Justin, that's a good question. I think they are buyers. Now, to who they land, I said it yesterday, I don't think it's Max Crosby, and I don't mean to be hypocritical to Sam Flannel standards, but again, I just don't think it's realistic. I would love Max Crosby, trust me. I think it'd be more of maybe someone who's unhappy with their current situation that's on a friendly deal that can maybe bolster up your defense or maybe even your offense. They could go offense too. But I don't know. I think they'll be buyers. They're not going to sell. They're winning games.
No. They're definitely not selling. They're either going to buy or they're just going to stand pat with who they have. And we'll see. We'll see how everybody is looking, especially if the Lions get more healthy moving forward in the season. We'll see if they're going to end up being buyers. I know they are. I know, Jeff, you would just have a conniption if they got Max Crosby.
I would. I would need a change of pants. I think that would be.
Would you be happy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying you wouldn't like it just because of money. Okay.
Well, the money, the reason I brought up the money is I just don't think it makes sense for Brad to do that. But if he does, hell yeah. Like you said, it's the Detroit Lions. It ain't the Jeff Lions. I'm all on board. Max Crosby. That would tell me if you get Max Crosby, you're all in. And I appreciate that.
All right.
Brad hasn't made a move like that yet.
No.
For a move that's I'm all in. Like Cam Sutton, you sign, Manny Mosley, but they're not you're not dropping a bag at anybody. The Bears did that with Tremaine Edmonds, and it didn't work out too well, going all in. Shad says, so Chase Young a week before the trade deadline. See, Shad, I don't know if they'll trade him, but Chase Young would be ideal. But you're going to have to pay him, though. They declined his fifth-year option. Oof. So it is what it is. I'm Salty says, I'd rather extend Jonah Jackson.
Ooh, good point, yeah.
That's another kind of reason why I brought that up yesterday is, there's money to go around. And, again, St. Brown and all the other guys, you got some years, but Jonah's up. We'll see what Brad does. Again, for content, I would hope he buys. I would love to talk about it. It'd be a lot of fun. Steve says, Mailbag, what week do you think the NFC North is wrapped up? I know Neil said it was last Thursday. Well, through 4 weeks, it's wrapped up. I don't think that's the case. I would say I'm more confident since last week the Lions have this thing in the bag. But I need to go deeper in the season. I want to see how the Packers trend after last week's loss. Like, are they going to fall into a pit, or are they going to string some wins off here? I wouldn't say it's over yet, but safe to say I'm confident in the Lions. I think they're like minus 175 or something like that to win the division.
Yeah, I'd probably go, if I'm being realistic in terms of mathematically, probably week 16 when they beat the Vikings. I'm not saying the Vikings are going to be the closest competitor, but it is hard to wrap up a division like week 15, right, with 4 weeks left of the year. I say week 16.
We've seen in Lions fans history where the Lions will start 6-2 and go 2-6. We've seen that too. Like,
of course.
You know what I mean? These things happen. I think, I forgot who the head coach was during that time.
For who?
They started off 6-2 and went 2-6 to close the season. Forgot who that was.
I think it was Schwartz. You talking about the Lions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Schwartz. Yeah, because that was really the only time that they needed a defense, and that's the one time they had a defense.
Yeah, actually, it might have been Schwartz. People can chime in if they Rod Marinelli. Thank you, Jake.
True.
Yes, it was Rod.
Yeah.
Who I think we saw a similar thing with Schwartz too, where they started off pretty well and they kind of fell off at the end.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we know this as Lions fans. So I don't want to say it's already banked they're winning the NFC North, but odds are high. Dan Wood, Mailbag, would you take Stills? Would you take Stills and Nash on a prove-it deal, or if it's all or nothing with Max 2? I wouldn't say it's all or nothing with Max, because there's still viable guys out there. You see this every year during the trade deadline where guys will be traded that you didn't expect to be traded. And I think the Lions, if you talk about they have the money, they have the assets, I think they'll be one of those teams that goes in and grabs a dude at this trade deadline. I don't know if it's Max Crosby, but someone that can be serviceable for you and produce for you.
Dan, are you trolling there? You said Stills and Nash. Are you talking about Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, the band? Is that what you're doing? Yeah. I see what you did.
Yeah, I didn't get the first part.
Get Steven Stills and Graham Nash to get on this team, and they're like, come. All right, fine.
Yeah, you're the only one that got that, Sam Flannel, so that's why I appreciate you.
Yes.
There you go. Yes, Sam, and Dan Wood is the man who originated the soundbite. And I will not say it again. JB, do you have it?
I have it, but I don't know if you wanted me to play it.
Just play it. Play it. Yeah, you have to.
Play it. Dan Wood, read those stats to me, Daddy. Dan Wood, you did this. Dan Wood, you did that. And JB, you got me. Let's end the show here. I mean, we're 4 minutes over. I wanted to go a little over for you guys because we kind of had a lot of fun today, kind of sticking with different subjects. But until tomorrow, guys, we're going to have a full show essentially previewing that Sunday game against the Panthers. We'll have some special guests join us. Maybe Broder will join us to break down the game. We'll see what he's doing tomorrow. Until tomorrow, guys, appreciate you. Jeff Iafrate, Sam Flannel, JB, holding it down for us. And, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Lucas Klotz in the TD booth. Again, appreciate you. Before you leave, hit the like button on the stream. It helps us, helps the algorithm, it helps the network. Until tomorrow, guys, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of the programming. Until tomorrow.
Peace.